I standing in the schoolyard like cattle at an auction, waiting to find out if the universe was going to make me a hero or a guy who cuts pork for a living. Let me back up. My world? Totally messed up. Decades ago, monsters ripped through the sky like uninvited guests at a party and took over 70% of the planet. Humanity got pushed behind big walls like sardines in a can. But hey, the universe felt bad, so it gave us a consolation prize. On your 18th birthday, you get a magic job. Could be a warrior, a knight, a mage, or a fisherman. Yeah, some people literally get assigned professional fishermen as their life's calling. Thanks, universe. Very cool. My parents were fighters. Real ones. They died protecting the city when I was 5. Monsters don't do severance packages. So it's been me and my older sister Fang Jing ever since. And oh boy, my sister. She's basically the LeBron James of magic. 2 years ago, she awakened as a rare ice elemental mage, got scouted to the most elite academy in the country, and peaced out. Left me here with a reputation as the genius's little brother. No pressure, right? My buddy Zhang Wei was next to me, sweating bullets. This dude is built like a refrigerator with legs. Got a face so wholesome it could make a horror movie feel like a cooking show. His dad's a butcher. His backup plan, also butchering. He was terrified. I'm so nervous, he whimpered, literally shaking. If I get a trash job, I gotta go home and inherit the meat shop. Kids kept going up to the magic circle. The results were depressing. Zhang Debao, fisherman. Feng Shi, farmer. It was like watching a career fair in hell. Then Zhang Wei's name got called. He walked up there moving his left arm and left leg at the same time. The man forgot how walking works. But then the teacher announced, Zhang Wei, Holy Light Knight. This absolute unit of a human being just stood there buffering for 3 seconds, then ran down and bear-hugged me so hard I saw my ancestors. I don't have to kill pigs anymore, he screamed in my ear. Thanks, buddy. Didn't need that eardrum anyway. Then it was my turn. Fang Wen. The whispers started immediately. That's Fang Jing's brother. No way he matches her. Imagine the embarrassment if he gets something lame. Real supportive crowd we got here. I stepped into the circle, closed my eyes, and then, deep inside my soul, something woke up. Something that had been sleeping my whole life. Words appeared that only I could see. Unlimited blade works. Modified edition. Copy any weapon I've ever seen. No quality loss. Oh, and here's an entire legendary arsenal from a certain red-clad archer who was famous for being a bowman that never actually used his bow. I nearly choked. 18 years, and my golden cheat code finally loaded in. But on the outside, the teacher just read the display and announced, Fang Wen, archer. Basic class, silence. Then snickering. An archer? The plain vanilla kind. Wow, compared to his sister. That's rough. Dude's gonna spend his life shooting arrows off the city wall like an NPC. Not even a fraction of his sister. Zhang Wei looked like he was about to fight everyone. Me? I just smiled. They saw, basic archer. I was sitting on an infinite weapon factory hidden inside my brain, inherited from a legendary hero whose whole personality was bringing swords to an archery fight. These people thought I'd be some wall guard nobody. I looked out past the city walls, toward that monster-infested wasteland, and I thought, sure, I'm an archer. An archer with unlimited everything. Who says a bowman can't break the whole game? After the ceremony, my buddy Zhang Wei was stomping around like an angry bull, ready to fight anyone who laughed at my basic archer result. I had to calm him down. Getting mad at idiots is like arguing with pigeons. They just poop on the board and strut around like they won. Then Uncle Chin, our school principal, pulled me aside. This man has been like a dad to me ever since my parents died. His job class? Scholar. Basically a warrior who gave up fighting and got really good at calligraphy instead. His office looks like a poetry museum. He sat me down, gave me tea, and asked me what I wanted to do with my life. His polite way of saying, are you okay, or do you need me to get you a safe desk job? I looked him dead in the eye and said I wanted to get strong. No hesitation. The man didn't question it for a second. He just pulled a scroll out of his drawer like some wise old RPG quest giver and handed me info on a brand new dungeon called the Dark Forest. Monsters level 5 to 12, double XP, not yet open to the public. I'm level 1. So yeah, basically a suicide mission with great rewards. That night I checked my stats. Strength, 5, agility, 6, spirit, 10, Thanks to being a reincarnator, my brain stats are juiced. Everything else, painfully average. I'm basically a glass cannon without the cannon part. Just the glass. Next morning, Zhang Wei and I hopped on a bus to the beginner dungeon, the Jelly Pig Zone. It's exactly as embarrassing as it sounds. The place was packed with freshly awakened students fighting over squishy pig monsters like Black Friday shoppers. We were there just to warm up and grind a few levels before tackling anything serious. Then, right on cue, Drama showed up wearing a tight mage robe. A girl named Wang Yue appeared with two guys in tow, one skinny swordsman with an attitude problem and one nerdy healer type. She called out to Zhang Wei in this sugary sweet voice that could give you diabetes through your ears. I could already tell this was about to get interesting. So little Miss Mage Robe, Wang Yue, waltzed up and tried to recruit Zhang Wei for her team. But me? Oh no. Sorry, the team is full. 3 people is full now, apparently. Math works different when you're being petty. Her buddy Chin Chung straight up said I'd get bullied by jelly pigs. Jelly pigs. Pink wobbly blobs that move like my grandma after a big lunch. The disrespect was unreal. I told Zhang Wei to chill, because the best revenge is leveling up while your haters watch. We stepped through the portal and boom. Welcome to the Jelly Pig Dungeon. Smelled like candy. Looked like someone dumped a truckload of pink jello onto a meadow and it grew legs. Now here's where things got fun. I reached into my soul and whispered the magic words, trace on, and materialized a sleek black bow out of thin air. Zhang Wei's jaw nearly hit the grass. Where did that come from? Poor guy thought the school gave me a bonus starter pack or something. He just grinned and decided I was secretly special all along. Good instincts, big man. I pulled back the string, let an arrow fly, and vaporized a jelly pig from 30 meters away. One shot. Instant death. The pig didn't even get to squeal. Zhang Wei's mouth formed a perfect O shape and just stayed there. Then I started rapid firing. Every arrow nailing a different pig right in its weak spot. 6 pigs gone in seconds. Zhang Wei tried to help, but honestly had nothing to do. Every monster died before it got within sword range. He called me a walking artillery turret. Fair description. Half an hour later, Zhang Wei had already hit level 3 without swinging his sword more than twice. Meanwhile, guess who came screaming out of the bushes? Chen Chung. Mr. Archers are useless, himself, running for his life from elite jelly pigs, shrieking, "Heal me! Heal me!" at his nerd healer who could barely keep a band-aid going. Wang Yue was frozen in front of a charging elite pig with her eyes closed, already riding her will in her head. I put an arrow clean through that pig's eye socket. It dropped like a bag of wet laundry. Wang Yue opened her eyes, saw me standing there looking cool with my bow, and suddenly I wasn't so useless anymore. She squeezed out a tiny, "Teach thank you," like the words physically hurt her to say. I just nodded, grabbed Zhang Wei, and kept walking deeper into the dungeon without looking back. Behind us, their healer was muttering about my 3 arrows per second rate. Chen Chung tried to save face with, "Just luck," but even he didn't believe that nonsense. And Wang Yue? She stood there staring at my back, probably doing mental math on how badly she'd messed up by snubbing me. Today's goal, Zhang Wei to level 5, me to level 8. We were just getting started. Zhang Wei and I ground jelly pigs for hours like maniacs, while everyone else went home for lunch like normal humans. I dumped all my stat points into attack speed because I chose violence. By afternoon, the XP was slowing down and I was thinking about calling it a day. Then the sky turned purple and every pig in the dungeon dropped to their knees like they were at church. A jelly pig king spawned. Level 10. Green, covered in crystal armor, tusks out, looking like a boss fight nobody asked for. Zhang Wei and I were hilariously underleveled. In any sane universe, we should have run. But I had a legendary Norse tracking arrow in my brain's weapon catalog, so naturally I said, I got this. Zhang Wei pulled aggro on the small pigs while I charged up a magical homing missile disguised as an arrow. The pig king dodged it. Impressive for a creature shaped like a building, but the arrow literally turned around midair and stabbed him anyway. Then I snapped my fingers, said something cool, and the arrow exploded like a grenade inside him. Giant crater. Pig gone. My mana bar. Also gone. Worth it. The loot was insane. Zhang Wei got shiny green armor. I got wrist guards and a legendary skill book, 10 times attack speed. I went from machine gun to actual Gatling gun. Tested it immediately. 10 arrows out so fast they looked like a laser beam. 10 pigs deleted simultaneously. On the way out, we bumped into Wang Yue's team. She asked what level we reached. Zhang Wei proudly announced he was 6, I was 8. First day, their faces looked like they'd swallowed lemons whole. Wang Yue tried sweet-talking Zhang Wei with her cutest voice. He hit her with a beautiful 2-word shutdown. Not interested. I had to hold back a laugh. My man Zhang Wei, petty king, loyal brother, zero chill. What a day? That night I dove into my brain's weapon vault like a kid exploring a secret basement. Swords, spears, axes, an entire legendary arsenal just floating there, waiting for me. Most of it was solid one-time use stuff, perfect for chucking at monsters' faces on a budget. But then, deep in the back, something golden caught my eye. The star of creation that split heaven and earth. A weapon so overpowered it shouldn't even exist in my collection. The original archer couldn't copy this thing, but my cheat code got an upgrade patch. If I can picture it, I can build it. No downgrade. I can't use it yet because I'm level 8 and that thing requires God tier energy levels, but just knowing it's sitting in my brain made me grin like an idiot. Zhang Wei bailed on me the next day. His uncle, a level 25 knight, wanted to personally train him in the capital. Couldn't blame him. So I was solo for the Dark Forest dungeon. Created a one-man team, named it Kamen Rider because I have taste, and picked Saber as my code name because irony is my love language. I'm a bowman named Saber. Comedy gold, and nobody will ever get the joke. The registration soldier looked at me like I'd ordered my own coffin. Just you? Alone? The entry form literally had a line in red. Once inside, life or death is your own problem. Super welcoming. A 4-man squad walked in behind me, and their leader gave me the, wow, this kid's gonna die look. Their mage smiled politely, which is woman code for, what an adorable fool. I ignored all of them. Stepped through the portal. The forest hit me with darkness, rotting leaves, and distant growling. 0 stars on Yelp. Terrible atmosphere. Perfect for leveling up. I gripped my bow and reminded myself, I'm not your average glass cannon archer hiding behind teammates. I shoot and I stab. A true bowman, like a true scholar, isn't weak. He just picks his moment before going absolutely feral. 3 black wolves jumped out of the bushes almost immediately. Game on. The Dark Forest was basically an all-you-can-eat XP buffet, and I showed up starving. Shadow wolves. 1 arrow through the eyeball, good night. But when they got close, I ditched the bow and pulled out my favorite married couple, the black and white twin swords, Kansho and Bakuya. Sliced 2 wolves in half before they even realized the archer had become a blender. Nobody expects the bowman to go full melee psychopath. Then came the poison vine monsters, and I introduced them to my new favorite party trick. Mixing regular arrows with exploding noble phantasms at 10 times speed. Basically turned myself into a fireworks show that hates plants. Hit level 9, dumped most of my points into attack speed because at this point I was addicted to going fast. Ran into a 3-man squad getting destroyed by a shadow leopard. Their tank was sweating. Their healer was panicking, and their mage was doing the damage equivalent of throwing pillows. I agreed to help for a cut of the loot, opened up with Gatling gun mode, and melted the leopard in seconds. They offered me a spot on their team. I said no thanks, lone wolf life. They looked at me like I was insane. Probably fair. Then things got spicy. Found some player killers, a gang called Blood Wolf, mugging a 2-person team. Their assassin was literally monologuing, hand over your stuff or die, like a discount movie villain. I shot the knife out of his hand. When their axe-wielding leader charged me thinking I was a squishy archer, I swapped to twin swords and deleted his mage in 1 combo. Then I Gatling gunned the leader's back until he stopped existing. The assassin tried to run. Keyword, tried. 1 arrow through the heart. 3 bandits, maybe 15 seconds total. The girl they were robbing just stood there whispering, so strong, and memorized my code name. Saber. The archer called Saber. My personal comedy continues. The grand finale was a level 12 tree monster boss. A big angry wood demon that whipped vines around and summoned baby trees like a botanical nightmare. I chopped through the minions with my twin swords, then pulled out the big guns. Gibalg, the legendary spear that literally rewrites cause and effect so it will hit you no matter what. Threw it. Boom. Tree demon became firewood. It dropped a purple treasure chest, the good stuff. Got a purple bow with a shadow damage ability, a rain of arrows area attack skill book, and a rare crafting core worth serious money. One day in this forest, and I went from that basic archer kid to a walking war crime. And I was just getting warmed up. After turning that tree boss into mulch, I did the smart thing for once and got out of there fast. Staying where a boss just died is like napping on train tracks. Technically possible, absolutely stupid. Found myself a cozy little cave with a rock wall behind it and thorn bushes on the sides. One entrance, clear view ahead. If this were a real estate listing, it'd say, charming murder-proof studio, open concept, great for surviving the night. Sprinkled monster repellent powder around the perimeter, lit a campfire, and sat down to admire my haul like a dragon counting gold. Purple bow? Check. Shadow armor? Check. Area of effect arrow rain skill? Check. Tree demon core worth a small fortune? Oh yeah, I was basically walking around with a college tuition in my backpack. Level 10, day 1 in the dungeon. Not bad for a basic archer. What I didn't know, because life apparently hates letting me enjoy things, was that 3 very angry people were hunting me down at that exact moment. Remember that 4-man squad from the entrance? The ones with the ridiculous code names, Sword Immortal, Spell Emperor, and Shield God? Turns out they came into this dungeon specifically for MY Tree Boss. I killed their target, took their loot, and didn't even know they existed. Their leader was so mad he cracked open an expensive tracking crystal ball just to follow my energy trail through the forest. Dude was literally spending money to come murder me. And their brilliant tactical reasoning? He just fought a boss. He's probably exhausted. Let's jump him while he's weak. Which, honestly, fair point. That spear throw did drain me dry. So there I sat by my little campfire, chewing dried food, listening to creepy bird screams, feeling pretty good about life, completely unaware that 3 psychos with main character syndrome code names were creeping toward my firelight, licking their lips like cartoon villains. Sometimes being a lone wolf has its downsides. Like wolves, 3 idiots crept up on my campfire thinking they were Navy SEALs. My eagle eye had been tracking them since they were stumbling through the bushes like drunk tourists. Their big plan? Sneak attack the exhausted solo player. Cute. Except I wasn't exhausted. I was bored. I opened with a shadow arrow at their tank. Should have one-shot him, but the refrigerator actually blocked it. Respect. Then their leader, Sword Immortal, real name probably Kevin, stomped out demanding I hand over my tree demon loot and cut off my own arm as an apology. His girlfriend helpfully added that he's from some fancy sword family. Oh no. Anyway, their combo attack looked impressive on paper. Giant sword from above, triple fireballs sealing my escape routes. Textbook stuff. I answered with arrow rain at 10 times speed aimed straight at their mage. She screamed like someone stepped on a cat. Their tank tried to shield her. Bad move, because my shadow arrow cooldown was back. Punched clean through him. Mage died 2 seconds later. 3-on-1 became 1-on-1 in about 6 seconds. Then Sword Immortal yelled at me to stop dodging. So I put away my bow and pulled out twin swords. His face went through 5 emotions in 1 second. Confusion, disbelief, joy, then terror as I dodged his giant sword by literally millimeters and kicked him in the chest. Called him sword trash to his face. He did not take it well. He tried charging up some ultimate fire move, which required standing completely still. Against a ranged fighter. Alone. With no teammates left. Genius level strategy. I backflipped away, materialized my bow, loaded up an explosive noble phantasm arrow, and delivered the punchline. Artis. Explosion. Boom. Good night, Sword Immortal. So I blew up, Sword Immortal, and looted his corpse like a responsible citizen. Turns out murder hobos carry serious cash. Over $1 million in currency plus a backpack full of rare materials. No wonder player killing is so popular. It's basically freelance wealth redistribution with extra violence. Spent 3 glorious days in the dark forest turning every living thing into XP. Hit level 13, which is actually above the dungeon's level cap. I didn't break the rules, I broke the math. The dungeon just didn't account for someone being this unhinged. By the end, killing wolves gave me 22 XP each, which is the equivalent of getting paid in pocket lint. Time to leave. I was planning my exit when the ground started shaking like an earthquake with anger issues. Activated Eagle Eye and saw a tidal wave of every monster type in the forest stampeding toward me. Wolves, vine demons, shadow leopards, tree monsters, like someone kicked over every anthill at once. And leading this parade of chaos? A girl, ponytail flying, sprinting like her life depended on it, because it absolutely did. Her code name was Peach Blossom, solo player, just like me. Here's the thing, I was perfectly hidden. Monster Horde would have run right past me. She could have kept running her own direction, and I'd have been fine. Instead, this beautiful maniac spotted me, changed course, grabbed my wrist, and dragged me into her problem. We ran like our shoes were on fire through the thickest parts of the forest, dodging monsters left and right, until we finally dove into a cave. She caught her breath, smiled apologetically, and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine before she showed up. She'd apparently stolen something from the monster's territory. What exactly? She didn't say. But whatever it was, it made the entire forest want her dead, and now, by association, me too. Good news. Met a genuinely nice person in a dungeon full of murderers. Bad news. She had the survival instincts of a moth near a bonfire, and now they were my problem. Peach Girl, real name Tao Yao Yao. Introduced herself as a level 15 shadow assassin, then immediately asked how a squishy archer reached level 13 solo. I shrugged and said, I'm special. She accepted that like it was a perfectly normal answer. I liked her already. She showed me the thing she'd stolen from the monsters, a glowing stone called an origin stone that lets you break through levels and learn advanced skills. Just pulled it out of her pocket and handed it to me like sharing a sandwich. I literally asked, aren't you worried I'll steal this? She said my eyes looked too honest for robbery. Either she's an excellent judge of character or dangerously naive. Jury's still out. Then she dropped the real offer. She knew where a second origin stone was, guarded by a 30-meter-tall rock giant sitting on it like the world's ugliest egg. The catch? This thing had an infinite health regeneration contract with the dungeon itself. Unkillable unless someone broke the contract first. She needed muscle. I had a contract-breaking dagger in my brain's weapon collection courtesy of a Greek sorceress named Medea. Match made in heaven. Our battle plan was beautifully stupid. I'd anger a building-sized monster while she ninja'd the stone. Then I'd parkour up its arm, stab it with a magic anti-contract dagger, backflip off, and carpet bomb it midair. Which is exactly what happened. I ran up this giant's arm like a lunatic, stabbed it in the chest, broke its immortality cheat code, then jumped off and unleashed arrow rain mixed with disposable legendary weapons. Tao Yao Yao popped out of the shadows doing assassin things. Rock Giant died in minutes. Loot was ridiculous. She got a purple assassin outfit. I got flying wings, an epic skill that literally grows energy wings on my back, and a pair of straw sandals. Straw sandals. Plus 15 agility though, so I put them on and immediately felt like I could outrun light itself. Fashion died so speed could live. Tao Yao Yao watched me break a divine contract, melee a giant as an archer, and rain explosions from the sky, all within 10 minutes. She looked at me like I was an alien. Then she asked where I was applying for college. We're both aiming for Shungjing Academy, same school as my sister. She mentioned the entrance exam moved to the provincial capital this year, which was news to me. We exchanged contacts, walked to the exit together, and she talked the entire way, questions I mostly dodged with the conversational grace of a brick wall. At the portal, she waved goodbye with a cheerful, "See you at the exam," and disappeared. 3 days in the dark forest. Entered at level 8, left at level 14, made a friend, exploded several bosses, acquired flight capability, and wore sandals into battle. Not bad for a basic archer. 1 month of solo grinding later, I walked out of various dungeons at level 17 like a guy who went to the gym for a week and came back looking like Thor. My original goal was 15. I overshot it the way a rocket overshoots a kite. Zhang Wei called me from his uncle's boot camp, proudly announcing he'd hit level 11. Genuinely impressive. The kid went from 6 to 11 in a month while being physically tortured by a level 25 knight uncle who apparently believes training means turning your nephew into livestock. Then he asked him why level. I said 17. The silence on his communicator lasted so long I thought he died. Then came the explosion. Are you hacking? Did a grandmaster possess your body? Did you find a cheat system? I told him to relax. It's just basic stuff. He did not relax. Went to Uncle Chin's house for dinner. He asked my level 2. The man literally spit his tea. Full spray. Nearly redecorated his living room. He'd expected me to maybe scrape 10, and I casually dropped 17 on him like it was nothing. For context, my genius sister, the legendary ice mage prodigy everyone compares me to, was only level 15 before her entrance exam. I passed her benchmark without even trying. Uncle Chin slapped his own thigh so hard I worried about bruising. His wife, Auntie Chin, is a combat chef whose cooking literally restores health and mana. Dinner was basically eating a healing potion shaped like a 5-course meal. She told me to eat more because kids who murder things for a living need proper nutrition. Fair point. Uncle Chin warned me the provincial capital would be crawling with rich family kids who've been pumped full of premium resources since birth. Some might be higher level than me. Was I worried? I have an infinite weapon factory in my skull, a Norse tracking missile, a Greek contract-breaking dagger, and straw sandals that make me faster than common sense. Those trust fund babies can bring whatever they want. 3 days later, I was on a plane to the provincial capital with 57 other students from my school, most of them shaking like chihuahuas in a thunderstorm. Zhang Wei showed up looking like his uncle had put him through a meat grinder and reassembled him stronger, tanned, bulkier, and still the same lovable idiot. He sat next to me on the plane and asked if we could stay up all night talking. I told him we have an exam tomorrow. He's 11 years old emotionally. The capital was massive. Thousands of students from across the province flooding in like a nerd invasion. Everyone buzzing about some guy named Lin Tian, 20 years old, rare, sword soul, class, from a sword family, already beat a level 22 elite monster solo. Basically the final boss of this exam, wearing a student uniform. Zhang Wei asked if we could beat him. I said if we can't, we run. He found this incredibly wise. Bought some healing potions, skipped the weapon shops because my brain is a weapon shop, ate noodles at a street stall, went to bed. Morning came. Theory exam happened. I breezed through it while everyone around me apparently forgot how to read. Someone asked how I did, and I said, okay. They immediately translated that to perfect score because apparently I have a reputation. Then came the afternoon briefing, and the exam chief, a guy named Zhao Taijun who looked like he bench presses tanks, dropped the real bomb. The practical exam is a 3-day survival run inside a brand new dungeon with monsters up to level 25. Kill stuff, collect loot, earn points. You can team up or sabotage each other. Only rule, no killing other students. If you're about to die, crush your emergency talisman and get rescued. But that means automatic failure. His exact pep talk was basically, scared people should quit being warriors. Thousands of teenagers sat there rethinking their life choices. Me? I was already planning my route. 3 days in a dangerous dungeon with double-digit monster levels and thousands of competitors? That's just a Tuesday for me at this point. Exam day. 10,000 teenagers standing in a field about to get yeeted into a survival dungeon. Zhang Wei was next to me having a full-body panic attack. I told him to breathe. He breathed. Got worse. Classic Zhang Wei. The exam chief repeated the rules. Don't kill each other. Crush your emergency charm if you're dying. But that means you fail. 3 days, highest score wins. Then we all got shuffled into the portal like cattle into a blender. I landed in the middle of nowhere. Gray sky, cracked dirt, dead trees, wind blowing sand into places sand should never go. 0 people in sight. Tried calling Zhang Wei and Tao Yaoyao. Communications blocked. Of course. Because why would anything be convenient? Started hunting immediately. 3 sand lizards popped out of the ground like the ugliest whack-a-moles ever. 3 arrows, 3 headshots, 30 points. Then I checked the math and realized at 10 points per lizard, I need to kill approximately 1 billion of them to get a competitive score. So I did what any reasonable person would do. March straight toward the dangerous center of the map where the big scary stuff lies. Every survival guide ever written says don't do this. Every survival guide was written by someone without an infinite weapon arsenal in their skull. Meanwhile, and I didn't know this at the time, a room full of judges was watching everyone on security cameras like the world's most stressful reality TV show. Apparently some hotshot named Lin Tian, the level 20 sword soul kid, was mowing through monsters like a lawnmower with anger issues. Tao Yaoyao was assassinating things so cleanly the judges were impressed. And then one of them noticed me, a solo archer charging into the deep zone, and pulled up my file. 17 level archer? Solo? Going deeper, The head judge apparently found this entertaining rather than concerning. Good. Let them watch. The show was just getting started. Landed in the wasteland, marched straight past all the baby monsters like a guy skipping the tutorial, and found a level 20 armored lizard boss sitting in a stone maze like it owned the place. My first arrow bounced off its scales like I'd thrown a grape at a tank. Annoying. So I carpet bombed it with every explosive noble phantasm I could grab from my brain's weapon closet. Turns out, fear comes from insufficient firepower, isn't just a meme, it's a lifestyle. Lizard died. I got a speed skill and some tank gear I couldn't wear. Day 1, and I was already almost 2,000 points deep. Then 5 geniuses showed up, saw the dead boss, saw me. One guy, one bow. And their collective brain cell decided, let's rob him. Their captain gave me the classic villain speech. Hand over the loot, or get beaten into monster food. 5 on 1, they figured it was easy math. They figured wrong. I disarmed their mage with a wrist shot, sliced their swordsman from behind with twin blades, carpet bombed the whole group with arrow rain, then speed blitzed through them like a blender through yogurt. All 5 hit the floor in under a minute. Not dead. Rules say no killing, just very, very sorry. I took all their points. 800 extra. Thank you very much. Their captain looked like someone canceled Christmas. They had to crush their emergency charms and quit the entire exam. Tried to rob a bowman, lost everything. Poetry. Apparently the judges were watching all of this on cameras, and the head examiner was starting to take notes on me specifically. Good. Let them scribble. I was heading deeper east where the real monsters lived, robbing every would-be robber along the way like some kind of reverse bandit. Almost 3,000 points, still hungry, still hunting, still aiming for first place, because first prize was an origin liquid that could upgrade my skills, and I wanted it the way. A starving man wants a steak. 2 days into the exam, I'd racked up over 12,000 points and hit level 19 by treating the deep zone like my personal grocery store. Found a purple skill book that lets me summon 2 clones of myself, 30% of my stats each. Basically, I can now be 3 guys at once, all of them dangerous. Learned it immediately, because why would I ever say no to more of me? Then the sky broke. Giant swirling vortex, thunder, black clouds. The whole, something terrible is waking up, starter pack. And sprinting out of that nightmare toward me, Lin Tian himself. The Lin Tian. Level 20, first tier sword soul, the guy everyone said would win the exam with his eyes closed. He was running for his life from 100 tiny bat-winged demons leaking corruption that rotted everything they touched. His sword couldn't keep up. He screamed at me to retreat because melee fighters get corroded by their aura. I looked at him, looked at my bow, said, what if I'm ranged though? His face went completely blank. Then I deleted the entire demon swarm in about 8 seconds. Arrow rain plus 10 times attack speed equals instant extinction event. 100 demons turned into floor decorations while Lin Tian stood there recalculating his understanding of what archers do. We introduced ourselves. He stared at me like I'd told him I was actually 3 raccoons in a trench coat. You're a bowman? Yes. The kind that makes mages feel inadequate. We were about to report the corrupted demons to the examiners when the sky vortex went into overdrive and something absolutely massive started crawling out of it. The pressure alone made my bones vibrate. Lin Tian and I shared one look. The universal language for, absolutely not, and both sprinted in the opposite direction without a single word of discussion. Sometimes wisdom is just running really fast together. So while Lin Tian and I were running from the sky tornado, every college recruiter in the monitoring room was apparently losing their minds because someone figured out I'm Fang Jing's little brother. Cue the phone calls, sign him immediately, offer him everything, give him a scholarship and a puppy. The head examiner from Shungjing Academy just sat there smirking because he knew I'd end up at his school anyway. Meanwhile, I was outside fighting for my life, completely unaware I'd become the hottest free agent in academic history. The sky ripped open and vomited out a 50-meter demon ape covered in corruption fog. Level 25. Polluted by the abyss. Something that absolutely, categorically should not exist in a student exam dungeon. My arrows did 22 damage. Lin Tian's legendary sword technique did 15. We were essentially tickling a skyscraper-sized gorilla with anger management issues. It trapped us in a dome of dark energy, no escape, then screamed so hard the ground cracked, and our health bars dipped. Lin Tian and I started playing the world's most terrifying game of tag, taking turns making the ape chase one of us while the other attacked from behind. Our teamwork was beautiful. Our damage was embarrassing. Lin Tian ran away, then stopped, turned around, and came back saying, "I can't leave you alone." Touching. Except he literally couldn't hurt the thing. I asked why he came back. He said he'd draw aggro. He yelled, "Hey ugly," and swung his sword for 15 damage. Bravest useless gesture I've ever witnessed. I spotted it, black crystal in its chest, the corruption core. Lin Tian tried hitting it. Bounced off like a Nerf dart. So I pulled out the big stick again. Gibalg, the spear that rewrites reality so it will hit your heart. Threw it with everything I had. The ape crossed both arms to block. Didn't matter. Causality doesn't care about your arms. Spear punched through, hit the crystal, and I detonated it from the inside. 10,000 points. 0 loot because corrupted monsters are generous with XP but stingy with presents. I collapsed. Mana gone. Legs gone. Dignity barely intact. Lin Tian was leaning on his sword, wheezing compliments between gasps. Then the examiners burst through the barrier. Turns out abyss corruption in a student exam is classified as a major catastrophic incident, and the whole test got shut down immediately. Everyone out. Exam over. At least I got my points first. The exam got cancelled, but the dungeon said, nobody's leaving. Dark portals started ripping open everywhere, spitting out corrupted monsters like the world's worst piñatas. Our examiner Zhao Taijun pulled out a flaming spear and revealed he's actually a level 50 warrior. Except the dungeon squished him down to 25 like everyone else. 50-year-old man with decades of combat experience. Nerfed to our level. Life isn't fair in either direction. Then a 40-level 9-headed snake squeezed through a portal, also nerfed to 25. Still absolutely terrifying. Its party trick? You have to cut all 9 heads off at once, or they grow back. Like the worst game of whack-a-mole ever designed. Zhao's fire attacks bounced off. Lin Tian's sword scratched it like a kitten on concrete. My arrows. The snake just wiggled its heads and dodged them like it was dancing. Black poison rain started falling. Got splashed, hurt like getting punched by chemistry. Lin Tian lost 1,000 HP from a few drops. We were running out of ideas and health simultaneously. So I reached into my brain's weapon vault and grabbed something absolutely stupid. Heracles' giant sword. 9 lives, a weapon designed to hit 9 times in one swing. 9 heads. 9 hits. The math was too perfect to ignore. I jumped into the air holding a sword bigger than my body. A bowman with a GREATSWORD. Dodged poison mid-flight using my straw sandals and wind sprint and brought it down with everything I had. 9 slashes. 9 heads. 9 simultaneous decapitations. 50,000 points. 0 mana remaining. 0 regrets. Lin Tian's entire vocabulary collapsed into 2 syllables. Zhao stood there with his mouth open recalculating what archers are supposed to do. I called it a small trick. Zhao's eye twitched so hard I thought he'd pull a muscle. Then, because this dungeon apparently runs on horror movie logic, the space around us started shaking again. Can a guy get 5 minutes of peace? Just when I thought we'd have to fight the entire abyss with a flaming spear guy and 1 swordsman who hits like a pool noodle, the sky cracked open and the cavalry dropped in. Literally dropped. From the sky. Leading them was the vice principal of Shengjing Academy, a level 90 water mage in a tuxedo, gold-rimmed glasses, and a gentleman's cane. Looking like he showed up to a demon invasion dressed for the opera. Behind him, more 80 to 90 level monsters, and I mean the humankind. They formed a giant magic circle and just purified the entire dungeon. Every corrupted creature, dust. Every dark portal, sealed. Like watching someone hit Control-Z on the apocalypse. Took them about 30 seconds. I've spent longer deciding what to eat for lunch. That is what 4th-tier power looks like, and it made me feel like a toddler who'd been proudly showing off finger paintings. Tuxedo Man asked about our scores. I checked mine, 96,000 for 120 points. I said, not bad. Lin Tian had 33,000 and looked like someone who got silver at the Olympics. Proud until he glanced at the gold. We got teleported out. Zhang Wei tackled me the second I appeared. Then he saw my score, and his brain short-circuited for the 8th time this month. Everyone within earshot went silent. Some kid who'd been proud of his 2,000 points looked like he needed therapy. The gap between us wasn't a gap, it was a canyon with weather patterns. Exam chief told everyone to hand in their score stones and go rest. Results coming later. Zhang Wei asked if anyone could possibly beat 96,000. I shrugged and said maybe there's a hidden genius out there. He stared at me like I'd suggested the moon was fake. We went to bed. My brain was still buzzing. Abyss corruption in a student exam doesn't happen by accident. Someone on the inside leaked information. But that's above my pay grade. For now, I just needed sleep and maybe a sandwich. While I was sleeping like a normal person, the adults were apparently having the craziest night of their careers. Tuxedo Man and 6 other top-tier warriors sat in a magic circle inside the dungeon, ejected their souls out of their bodies like spiritual astronauts, and quantum teleported into the abyss itself, the actual monster dimension. Just casually invaded enemy territory in ghost form. No big deal. They found the whole operation. A giant altar where some level 80 fishman named Lucas was lounging on a fancy couch, getting massages from monster women, while ordering corrupted creatures to be shoved through a portal into our exam dungeon. Living his best villain life. Didn't even know our students were being rescued. He was still celebrating, sipping wine, thinking he'd killed a bunch of teenagers. Real charming guy. Then Tuxedo Man dropped an ocean on him. Literally summoned a river from the sky that crushed everything and dissolved monsters like sugar in hot water. His buddy, a shirtless Thunder Fist maniac, electrified the flood for a complimentary water and electricity combo meal. Every monster around the altar got deep-fried. The fishman screamed that his boss, some dragon king, would avenge him. A lady swordsman appeared behind him and removed his head from his neck before he finished the sentence. Altar destroyed, portal smashed, 7 ghosts flew home before enemy reinforcements arrived. But here's the part that would have made me spit my tea if I'd known about it. After getting back, these legendary warriors, people who'd just assassinated a demon general in another dimension, immediately started arguing over who gets to recruit me for college. Thunder Fist guy screamed that his school has the greatest archer alive. Tuxedo Man kept repeating, Fang Jing is at our school, like a broken record. The lady swordsman pulled out the video of me decapitating a 9-headed snake with a greatsword and said, this archer uses swords too, so your argument is invalid. Tuxedo Man's eye twitched, but then he smiled because the more weapons I use, the more his school's massive resource library becomes the obvious choice. Plus, sister card. He was playing chess while everyone else played checkers. I was asleep through all of this, dreaming about nothing, completely unaware that the most powerful people in the country were fighting over me like divorced parents at a custody hearing. Results day, 10,000 students crammed into a plaza, sweating like they owed the universe money. The examiner read out the scores, and my name came up so many times I started feeling embarrassed. Almost. Perfect score on the written exam. Tied with Tao Yaoyao, who apparently has beauty and brains, which feels illegal. Lin Tian missed one question, and I could physically see his soul leave his body for a second. Then came the combat scores, and the plaza went so quiet you could hear a butterfly sneeze. 96,000 for 120 points. Me. First place. Second place was Lin Tian with 33,000. I beat him by 63,000 points. That's not a victory margin. That's a restraining order. Zhang Wei screamed, Father, take me with you. From the crowd, and I pretended not to know him. Then 7 legendary figures appeared on stage like the world's most intimidating job fair. Representatives from all 7 elite academies, each trying to buy me like an auction item. Tuxedo Man offered a legendary skill book, legendary armor, free choice of mentor, and a spot in some mysterious exploration program. Thunder Fist guy countered with all that plus a custom epic armor set and the greatest archer teacher alive. The sword lady offered to personally train me because she saw the video of me swinging a greatsword. Everyone was throwing legendary gear at me like I was a wishing well. I picked Xingjing Academy. Obviously. My sister's there, the resources are the deepest, and Tuxedo Man had been playing the long game from the start. He handed me 2 presents. A legendary skill called Star Meteor Strike that literally drops celestial destruction on a wide area, and Void Walker armor that lets me teleport short distances. Both usable at any level. I went from well-equipped to walking apocalypse in 30 seconds. Tao Yaoyao chose Shengjing too. We shook hands. Her skin was unreasonably soft, and I had to force my brain to stay professional. Zhang Wei picked Earth Academy, bottom of the 7 but still elite, and looked like a kid being dropped off at summer camp. Lin Tian went to Dragon Tiger Academy for sword training, shook my hand, and promised a rematch someday. Province's #1 student, 2 legendary items richer, headed to the same school as my genius sister, with a pretty assassin as my future classmate. Not bad for a basic archer that everyone laughed at on Awakening Day. 3 days after the exam, I collected my province champion prize like a kid picking up a golden ticket. The reward? Origin Liquid, the stuff that upgrades your skills. I'd been drooling over this since I found out it existed. Went to the Education Bureau where the director, a sweet old grandpa named Ji Tongshu, turned out to be Uncle Chin's best buddy. Of course he was. At this point, I'm convinced Uncle Chin secretly knows every powerful person in the country and has been quietly building me a network of uncles like some kind of wholesome mafia boss. Director G insisted I call him Uncle G, and I climbed that social ladder so fast I got friction burns. He handed me the Origin Liquid, and then, because one gift apparently wasn't enough, pulled out a second present. An epic poison arrow skill that does damage over time and shreds enemy defenses. I now have true damage, explosive damage, shadow damage, area damage, and poison. My attack portfolio is more diversified than a hedge fund. I try to be humble about accepting it, but Uncle G basically said, "Take it or you're being weird." So I took it. I'm a people person. Dinner happened because Uncle G wouldn't let me leave without eating. He dropped wisdom about the academy, career paths, and life in general. Genuinely useful stuff from a guy who's been in education longer than I've been alive. Called Uncle Chin afterward. He nagged me like a worried mother hen for 10 minutes. Told me to study hard, find my sister, don't stress. I thought about my dad and wondered if he'd have sounded the same. Probably. That thought hit softer than any monster ever has. Next morning, I cracked open the Origin Liquid, chugged it like an energy drink, and chose Eagle Eye for the upgrade. The skill that everyone called useless. The one ability that saved my life more times than I can count. Time to make it legendary. Evolution started. My whole body lit up like a Christmas tree on fire. The Origin Liquid hit my stomach like a cool breeze, and then my eyeballs basically rebooted. When I opened my eyes, the world looked like someone switched reality from 480p to 8K Ultra HD. I could count the feathers on a bird flying outside my window. My basic Eagle Eye, the skill everyone called garbage, evolved into 1,000-mile eyes, an epic sniper ability that lets me accurately shoot anything within 10 kilometers. I went from decent vision to I can headshot you from another zip code. But wait, there's a bonus track. A second skill popped out like a free toy in a cereal box. True Mind's Eye, combat instinct that lets me predict enemy moves and find escape routes even in impossible situations. These are literally the signature abilities of the legendary Red Archer, whose entire weapon collection lives in my brain. It's like the universe is building me into his successor one skill at a time, and I am absolutely not complaining. My skill list now looks like someone's endgame character sheet. 10 times attack speed, arrow rain, phantom clones, poison arrows, flight wings, and a legendary nuke called Star Meteor Strike that drops celestial destruction on people. Plus Void Walker armor that lets me teleport. I'm a level 20 hexagonal warrior. No weak points, all stats balanced, equally terrifying at any range. The kids who laughed at Basic Archer would need therapy if they saw this screen. Learned the poison skill too. Melts enemy defenses while ticking damage. Combined with my true damage explosions, I'm basically a war crime with legs. Spent my last free day wandering the city, sipping bubble tea, window shopping weapons I didn't need because my brain is a weapon shop. Bought a book about abyss monsters because knowledge is power and also because it was only $50. Then a silver airship the size of a building landed at the dock, Shengjing Academy's phoenix crest gleaming on its hull. Tao Yaoyao was already there in a white dress looking unfairly pretty. We boarded together, and as my feet left the ground, I felt it, the next chapter of my life lifting off with me. Basic Archer from a small coastal city, heading to the most elite academy in the country, with an infinite arsenal in his head and 10 kilometers of perfect aim in his eyes. Let's see what they've got. On the airship to Shengjing Academy, Tao Yaoyao and I grabbed breakfast in the cafeteria like the only two people at a party who actually know each other. She was demolishing steamed buns and porridge like a starving raccoon while somehow looking adorable doing it. Then I caught her staring at my face and turning red for absolutely no reason. I chose not to investigate. Some mysteries are better left unsolved. A golden-haired pretty boy named Sun Muyang rolled up, trying to flirt with Tao Yaoyao using the smoothest line known to man. We're both third place in our provinces, so we're basically soulmates. She shot him down so fast the rejection broke the sound barrier. I grabbed a slice of watermelon and settled in to enjoy the show because this had nothing to do with me, and free entertainment is free entertainment. Then this genius started fanboying about the legendary student from the Southwest province who scored 96,000 points during an actual demon invasion, going on and on about how incredible this mystery person was. Tao Yaoyao just looked at me with the most pitiful expression, like watching someone walk into a glass door in slow motion. The kid had come to hit on a girl and accidentally turned it into a fan meeting for the guy sitting 3 feet away. Someone else recognized me and said hi. Sun Muyang's brain buffered for about 4 seconds. Then he exploded. Wait, you're that Fang Wen? I'm your fan. Went from wannabe Romeo to screaming fanboy in one heartbeat. Immediately sat down next to me, called me bro, and then looked at Tao Yaoyao and said, so this must be your girlfriend? She's gorgeous. Tao Yaoyao mentally gave him a gold star. I put down my watermelon and clarified that she is not my girlfriend. She smiled and said, not yet, anyway. Sun Muyang nodded like he'd cracked a code. Oh, I get it. Still in the chasing phase. Go get her, bro. I sat there processing the fact that a stranger had just written my love story for me while the girl in question winked at me like this was all going according to her plan. I changed the subject to his lightning fire mage class before this conversation could get any more dangerous. Sun Muyang glued himself to our table like a golden-haired puppy who'd found his forever home. The kid's a lightning fire mage. Basically a walking bomb with no armor. High damage, zero survivability. He's trying to invent a shield made of lightning and fire, which sounds like solving a drowning problem by adding more water, but I respect the hustle. He asked how I got 96,000 points. I said, 9-headed snake. He nearly swallowed his own tongue. Then he pledged eternal loyalty and asked to join my dungeon team. Tao Yaoyao immediately yelled, I was here first, like someone cutting in line at a buffet. These two started arguing over who gets to ride my coattails while I sat there eating watermelon, wondering when I became a franchise. Then some tall dude walked up with a giant black sword on his back and one arm hidden inside his clothes. I almost choked on my watermelon. Bro was cosplaying a one-armed swordsman from a kung fu drama in broad daylight and acting completely serious about it. His name was Duan Ong, top scorer from the Central Province, and he delivered exactly 3 sentences of cool guy dialogue before turning around and walking away like a movie character. Respect the commitment to the aesthetic, even if it's ridiculous. Sun Muyang dropped some actually useful intel between his fanboy episodes. The Academy has a genius ranking, top 100 students by combat power, updated monthly. Top 50 get rare materials, top 10 get epic tier rewards, and the top 10 also qualify for something called the Exploration Program. That's the same thing my sister joined. The thing that turned her from talented to legendary. I needed in. Sun Muyang declared he'd become a god of magic someday. Tao Yaoyao told him to become a king of magic first. He called her sis-in-law for the 15th time. She looked ready to commit violence. I ate more watermelon. The airship broke through the clouds, and there it was below us. The capital city, towers everywhere, a glowing spire in the center reaching into the sky like a finger poking heaven. New city, new school, new rivals. Same infinite weapon arsenal in my head. Let's go. Shengjing Academy was everything the brochure promised and more. Giant campus, multiple airship docks, enough real estate in the most expensive city in the country to make a billionaire jealous. Sun Muyang was losing his mind, pointing out every provincial champion like a tourist guide who'd memorized Wikipedia. That's the Northwest champion. That's the capital's champion. That one looks angry. Useful intel, annoying delivery. This kid missed his calling as a spy. Zhao Taijun, the same examiner who watched me fight a demon ape and a 9-headed snake, turned out to be the Academy's dean of discipline. He gave us the welcome speech, which boiled down to, "Congratulations on getting in. Now try not to get kicked out." Tomorrow we'd face something called the Trial Tower, an artificial dungeon that throws endless waves of brainless monsters at you like a zombie survival game. No loot drops, but whoever lasts longest or sets records gets prizes. Oh, and if you perform badly, you get expelled from the school you just passed a life-threatening exam to enter. This place has zero chill. The housing situation was peak meritocracy. Regular students get dorms, top 10 provincial scorers get private villas. I got villa number 3 in the premium A zone. Tao Yaoyao got number 5. Sun Muyong got number 7. We're neighbors. All three of us. In a row. I stared at my key card and felt my future peace and quiet evaporate in real time. Tao Yaoyao was already planning to drop by whenever, and Sun Muyong looked like a puppy who just discovered his owner lives next door. I haven't even unpacked yet, and I'm already surrounded. My 3-person comedy troupe moved into the villa zone together. Sun Muyong inspected my house, declared it had better sunlight than his, and I'm 90% sure he's going to move into my living room within a week. Tao Yaoyao blushed when he called her sis-in-law again and stomped off to her own villa. Peace and quiet lasted approximately 11 minutes. Then the vice principal showed up at my door like a pizza delivery guy carrying life-changing information instead of pepperoni. Turns out there are 2 ways to break through to first-tier status. The normal way, just eat the origin stone and level up. Easy, safe, boring, and you end up mediocre, which explains why Lin Tian hit first tier and still couldn't scratch a corrupted monkey. The hard way, use the stone as a catalyst while completing an insane challenge. Solo kill 20 level 25 monsters and 10 level 30 monsters. Almost nobody does this because it's basically a suicide contract with better rewards. Guess which one I picked? The vice principal laughed like a proud uncle watching his nephew volunteer for something stupid. He warned me the trial tower monsters can actually kill me, but the pain and mental damage are very real. Then he casually mentioned my sister is off doing the exploration program and can't visit yet. Dropped that emotional bomb and waltzed out the door looking elegant as always. That man weaponizes sophistication. Next morning, thousands of freshmen stood before a giant black tower covered in glowing runes. Basically, a monster vending machine. Rules: survive as many waves as possible, each wave stronger and bigger than the last. Level 30 monsters don't even show up until wave 7, and wave sizes double every round. My secret objective? Reach wave 7, butcher everything, complete the impossible advancement quest, and build foundations so solid that when I break through, I'll make every normal first tier look like a tutorial character. Sun Muyang cheered. Tao Yaoyao fist pumped. I walked into the tower gripping my bow, grinning like someone who'd already seen the ending and liked what he saw. The trial tower was basically a video game designed by someone with absolutely no sense of aesthetic consistency. Wave 1. 100 skeleton soldiers clanking around like haunted wind chimes. I arrow rained the entire batch in one shot. Wave 2. 200 tiger cats. Yes, tiger cats. Tiny adorable felines that roar like lions and attack like kittens with attitude problems. The tower's creator clearly couldn't decide between horror and cuteness, so they chose both. I smacked them around with my bow like a broom and swept them into a pile for mass deletion. Wave 3. Rock puppets. Wave 4. Shadow wolves. Each floor doubled the monsters and bumped their level by 5. The pattern was obvious and the difficulty was climbing, but for me it was still just target practice with extra steps. I blazed through 5 floors without breaking a sweat or taking the offered rest break, because rest is for people who aren't trying to complete a secret advancement quest before lunch. Floor 5 was 1,600 fire-breathing lizards, and I turned it into a fireworks show. Poison arrows to melt their defenses, phantom clones for triple coverage, arrow rain for the cleanup, all at 10 times speed. 10 minutes flat. The monitoring room full of teachers apparently lost their collective minds watching a bowman beat lizards to death with his own bow in melee combat between sniper volleys. One teacher literally screamed. Zhao Taijun just smirked and said, "Yeah, that's normal for him," like a proud dad pretending his kid's piano recital genius is no big deal. Meanwhile, the other provincial champions were still grinding through floor 4. The gap between me and everyone else wasn't shrinking. It was buying real estate. 2 more floors to go. 25 level 25 kills and 10 level 30 kills standing between me and a proper first-tier breakthrough. Time to stop warming up. Floors 1 through 5 were a warm-up disguised as an exam. Skeletons, tiger kittens, rock puppets, wolves, fire lizards. I chewed through them like a guy eating chips during a movie. The tower doubled the enemy count every floor, which sounds scary until you remember I have 10 times attack speed and an attitude problem. Floor 6 threw 3,200 electric eagles at me. Flying enemies. 3,200 angry birds that shoot lightning. Most archers would have cried. I dropped Star Meteor Strike on them, my new legendary skill that literally calls down the heavens. Then grew energy wings, flew up there myself, and started sword-fighting eagles midair. A bowman. Flying. With a sword. Fighting birds. If my classmates from Awakening Day could see me, they'd need group therapy. Skipped every rest break because momentum is a drug and I was addicted. Floor 7 hit different. 6,400 corrupted demon dogs, level 30, with a berserk buff that made them faster and meaner. My regular arrows barely tickled them, so I switched to full noble phantasm mode. Every arrow an exploding legendary weapon. When that wasn't enough, I pulled out a different legendary spear, the anti-army version this time. Chucked it into the biggest cluster and detonated the whole thing. Then emptied my entire mana bar into one final Star Meteor Strike. Actual meteor. From space. Onto dogs. Overkill doesn't begin to describe it. What I didn't know was that while I was carpet-bombing demon dogs, the vice principal had dragged a level 95 immortal swordmaster named Chong Ching Song to watch my fight on camera. This old man hadn't taken a student in years, was basically retired and watering flowers for fun. Tuxedo Man showed him my footage and pitched me like a used car salesman. He fights everywhere. Ground, air, close range, long range. He uses bows, swords, knives, spears. He's your philosophy with a younger face. The old master watched me nuke 6,000 dogs and said, "Yeah, I'll take him." Then literally dropped his watering can and sprinted to the tower before anyone else could snatch me first. Two grown legends racing through campus to adopt me as a student. I really am the most wanted man at this school. I dropped a meteor on 6,000 dogs, and the entire tower shook so hard that students on other floors felt it. Duanong, Mr. One-Armed Swordsman, was grinding through floor 5, quietly convincing himself he was doing great, when my Star Meteor Strike rattled his entire dimension like an earthquake in a snow globe. He had no idea what happened. Tao Yao Yao, bless her, immediately said, "That's definitely Fang Wen," without a second of hesitation. That girl knows me better than I know myself, and we've hung out maybe 3 times. Walked out of the tower looking calm while every teacher in the building stared at me like I was an alien wearing human skin. Then the recruitment circus began. A gorgeous lady archer teacher offered to mentor me because your arrows explode and mine explode too. We're basically family. A thunder spear guy said he trained Zhao Taijun himself and could teach me polearm techniques. A dual blade master, a greatsword specialist. Everyone lined up like I was handing out autographs. Duanong stood there watching this parade of teachers fighting over me, completely lost, mentally screaming, "What happened in there?" Then an old man landed on a flying sword. Just descended from the sky, standing on a blade like a kung fu movie immortal. Level 95. Sword immortal class. Hadn't taken a student in years. He looked at all the other teachers and said, "This student is mine." Who agrees? Who objects? Dead silence. Nobody objects to a 95-level grandpa on a flying sword. The other teachers protested, "You're a sword class, he's an archer," but the old man shut them down instantly. "I don't teach classes, I teach combat philosophy. And this kid already fights like a complete system. He doesn't need a teacher. He needs a guardian. That's me." He walked up and asked if I wanted to be his disciple. I looked at this man who literally flew here on a sword and thought, I'm a bowman with a head full of legendary swords, a secret dream of close combat, and he's offering to teach me how to ride a flying blade through the sky. Where do I sign? I looked at the flying sword grandpa and asked the only question that mattered. Why me? His answer was basically a job review I didn't apply for. He'd watched every second of my tower fight, and what impressed him wasn't the meteor, it was that I knew when to drop it. He said most geniuses die young because they're too stupid brave. I fight smart. Apparently surviving is a rarer talent than exploding things, and he'd watched enough talented people die over the decades to know the difference. Sold. I accepted on the spot. You don't say no to a level 95 immortal who literally commutes by standing on a sword. Every other teacher deflated like sad balloons. Duanong, who'd been silently proud of reaching floor 6, cornered Sun Muyang, demanding to know what happened inside the tower. Sun Muyang, my self-appointed hype man, grinned like a cat and told him I'd punched through floor 7 entirely. Duanong's spirit visibly left his body. He'd been grinding floor 6 thinking he was competitive, and I was 2 floors ahead fighting enemies 10 levels above me. The official rankings confirmed it. Me first, Duanong second, everyone else somewhere in the, well, you tried, category. Sun Muyang patted Duanong on the shoulder and told him, don't compare yourself to monsters, just compare yourself to yesterday you. Wisest thing that golden-haired idiot ever said. Master Chang took me back to his little courtyard, the most humble home owned by the most dangerous gardener alive. On the walk, he gave me my first real critique. I'm good at everything, but unified at nothing. My fighting styles are like loose sand. Each grain is hard, but they don't form a structure yet. He promised to build me a system that connects every weapon, every range, every dimension of combat into one seamless philosophy. The training would be brutal. I told him I don't fear suffering. He smiled like he'd been waiting years to hear someone say that. For the first time since awakening as a basic archer, I had a master, a plan, and a path forward that wasn't just me improvising with legendary weapons and hoping for the best. Still improvising, but now with adult supervision. Leveled up to 21 overnight, and my stats went absolutely nuclear. While normal people who use the Origin Stone get their attributes doubled, my ancient method breakthrough multiplied everything by 5. My numbers jumped from the 50s into the 200s. When other first-tier students are cruising around with stats in the hundreds, I'm sitting at 265 spirit like a mana battery that grew legs. The gap between me and everyone else didn't just widen. It moved to a different continent. Morning after my all-nighter, I visited Master Chang, who was sitting in his courtyard listening to opera like a retired grandpa at a tea house. This man could probably destroy a city block, and his morning activity was humming along to Beijing opera. He immediately noticed I'd advanced, nodded like it was expected, and moved straight to the next lesson, magic circuits. Turns out there's a whole hidden cultivation layer to this world that nobody teaches you in high school. You carve energy pathways inside your own body to store and circulate mana more efficiently. More circuits equals more power, more control, and apparently it's also the foundation for unlocking something called a domain, which sounded suspiciously like a personal reality marble. My brain tingled at that word, but I kept my mouth shut. The catch? Building your unique circuit requires asking your heart. Master Chang got philosophical on me over tea. What do I want? What am I fighting for? Who am I protecting? He said his own circuit is shaped like a sword, sharp, direct, relentless, which tracks perfectly for a guy whose entire personality is fly on blade, stab thing. He told me the answer would take a lifetime to find. No pressure. First meditation session went surprisingly well. Mana moved like a stubborn toddler at first, running everywhere except where I wanted, but eventually settled into a smooth flow. My total mana capacity jumped noticeably just from establishing the basics. Skills I used to fire mechanically now felt like extensions of my own bloodstream. The difference between pressing a button and actually breathing the technique. Went home and practiced all night, because sleep is for people with lower ambitions. 21 free attribute points saved in my pocket like emergency cash. Stats through the roof, mana circuits online, a sword-flying immortal as my teacher, and a lifetime philosophical homework assignment. Not bad for day 2 at school. My magic circuit turned out to be an infinity symbol. Not a sword like my master's, not a bow like my job description says, a literal infinity floating inside my body like a cosmic tattoo. Probably because my whole existence revolves around unlimited blade works. The universe is not subtle with its theming. Then I got to spin the gacha wheel for a free advanced skill. What did the universe hand me? Golden Rule, a passive that basically says, you will never be broke, treasures will find you. And oh yeah, you're hotter now. My face literally got an upgrade. Looked in the mirror and caught myself simping for myself. Jaw sharper, eyes sparkling, skin glowing. I went from handsome high schooler, to sculpted by a bored god with too much talent. The skill description said increased charisma. What it delivered was a full-body glow-up powered by destiny itself. Next morning, Tao Yaoyao tried to ambush me outside my villa using her assassin stealth. Professional infiltrator, trained in shadows, invisible to the naked eye. She saw my face post-upgrade and literally fell out of her hiding spot. Just tumbled out of the corner like a startled cat. Asked me what skincare routine I use. I told her, money, and technically wasn't lying. She came to say goodbye. Her master, a level 90 assassin named Guing, was taking her on a training trip. No dungeon crawling together for a while. She wanted me to look sad about it. I gave her a thumbs up instead. She called me emotionally unavailable. I called her a fangirl face. She screamed. Standard morning. We hit the cafeteria together for one last meal and discovered that the one enemy neither of us can defeat is the lunch lady. That woman's serving handshakes like she's conducting an earthquake. Every scoop loses half its contents before reaching your plate. Tao Yaoyao tried weaponizing cuteness. Didn't work. I tried asking politely. Also didn't work. The cafeteria aunties of this world answer to no power, divine or otherwise. Tao Yaoyao swore she'd get stronger specifically to earn bigger portions. Finally, a training motivation I can respect. After breakfast, she bounced off to assassin boot camp, and I headed to Master Chang's place to learn the thing I'd been secretly excited about since he landed on a flying sword. Actual sword riding techniques. A bowman learning to surf on blades through the sky. My career path makes less sense every day, and I love it. Master Chang taught 40 students his signature flying sword technique over his career. 0 of them learned it. Not one. He'd basically given up on the whole concept and retired to water flowers and listened to opera. Then I walked in, projected a sword, and mastered the basics in half a day. The man screamed, "Genius," so loud his beard shook. 40 failures over decades, and then one archer with an infinite weapon brain cracks it before dinner. I think I accidentally became his emotional support student. The secret? Controlling swords with mana felt suspiciously familiar. It's basically the same concept as launching weapons from my mental arsenal, just with more finesse and less explosion. Like going from throwing grenades to flying remote control missiles. My brain was already wired for this. Master Chang explained the theory, demonstrated once, and told me to figure it out. Most people would struggle for months. I had it in hours because my entire existence is guy who controls weapons with his mind. The compatibility was stupid high. He promised that at higher levels I could assassinate people from miles away, create sword formations, and, the big one, ride a flying sword through the sky. I wanted that immediately. He said slow down. I just started. But his eyes said, this maniac will probably learn it by next week. Bumped into Tao Yaoyao on the way home. She looked like someone had run over her cat. Her assassin master called her stealth, like a tank, because her breathing was too loud and her footsteps too heavy. An assassin compared to a tank. I told her strict teachers make strong students. She pouted. We both went home, her to pack for training camp, me to practice flying my sword around my living room like the world's most dangerous ceiling fan. By nightfall, I'd reached the next level. Sword moves with my thoughts. No delay, no conscious effort. Just think it, and the blade goes. Master Chang taught 40 people this technique. I learned it in one day. I'm starting to think maybe I actually am broken. Woke up at dawn because Tao Yaoyao texted me a dramatic goodbye photo of the school gates like she was deploying to war. She was leaving with her master Guing, a cold-faced assassin teacher who lost her first student in a dungeon years ago and swore off teaching until Tao Yaoyao came along. Basically the "I'll never love again" trope, but for mentorship. Respect. I decided to see her off and bring a present, an orange-tier assassin dagger I'd been sitting on since the exam dungeon. Worth millions on the market, and I'd been too busy learning sword surfing to sell it. Tao Yaoyao saw the stats and tried to refuse. It's too expensive, but I told her it was just collecting dust. She held it like I'd handed her a baby made of diamonds. Her master Guing watched the whole exchange, said nothing, but I caught a micro-expression that roughly translated to, okay, this boy is acceptable. High praise from a woman whose face appears to be permanently set to airplane mode. After they vanished through a portal, Master Chang summoned me for more sword training. Found him doing slow-motion kung fu in his garden like an ancient martial arts movie. I showed him my overnight progress, flying a sword around his yard at high speed with pinpoint control. He'd expected me to still be fumbling. Instead, I was threading needles at Mach speed. His eyebrows nearly left his face. Then he dropped the 3 levels of sword mastery on me. Level 1, move swords with mana. That's where I am. Level 2, merge your spirit with the blade. Think it, sword does it. Level 3, full fusion. You are the sword. It protects you on autopilot. Master Chong, at level 95, just barely entered stage 3. This technique takes lifetimes. I'm on day 2. Over tea, he told me his family died in the original monster invasion decades ago. Said it casually, like mentioning the weather. This world is simple. You don't kill monsters, monsters kill you. So get stronger. Same story as my parents. Same lesson. Different generation, same war. I nodded hard enough to crack my own neck. 2 mentors who lost everything teaching 2 students who refused to lose anything else. The math checks out. While I was off learning new tricks, my master and vice principal Tuxedo Man had their daily old married couple routine. Tuxedo Man jumped over the wall. Instead of using the door, nearly got impaled by an automatic defense sword. Then they bickered over tea like 2 grandpas who've been annoying each other for 40 years. Tuxedo Man dropped off my trial tower record-breaking reward, an origin scroll that can upgrade purple gear to orange or expand storage space, plus 1,000 academy points deposited directly into my student account like magical direct deposit. Master Chong also let slip something cryptic to himself after Tuxedo Man left. Apparently, he's been hiding a secret for decades about multiple job changes, switching between different classes. He thinks I might be the one who can pull it off. Cool. No pressure. Just casually being prophesied about while I'm across campus getting suffocated by boobs. Because that's what happened at Teacher Zhou's house. The hot archer lady greeted me with a hug so aggressive my face got buried in places my brain wasn't prepared for. Then she taught me an epic skill she'd personally invented. You shoot an arrow that transforms into a flaming bird that circles an area, marks enemies, and drops splitting arrows on them. It's literally a mobile gaming ultimate ability brought to life. Combined with my 10-kilometer sniper vision, I can now send a drone bird to find people, tag them, annoy them with mini arrows, and then headshot them from across the map. I'm not a bowman anymore. I'm a military satellite with legs. For the scroll reward, I chose storage expansion over upgrading my bow. Why? Because my brain is a weapon factory. I can project any bow I want. But extra pocket space for loot? That's forever. Went from 10 cubic meters to 13. 3 extra cubic meters of hoarding capacity. My inner RPG goblin rejoiced. 2 months until midterms. Master Chong told me to prepare like it was nothing. Midterm exam for the guy who broke the trial tower? Please. The real question is what? Good stuff. They're dangling as the prize this time. Somewhere in a demon-infested borderland dungeon, my sister was staring at an old photo of us, wondering if her little brother even passed the entrance exam. She's been gone for months with zero internet, fighting monsters on the literal front lines of humanity's war, and has no idea I'm already at her school, level 28, with a flying sword grandpa as my master and a skill. List longer than a restaurant menu. Her best friend Nangonya, a mind control specialist who once pet a monster so hard she gave it brain damage, saw my photo and immediately started scheming about making me her boyfriend. My sister shut that down faster than I shut down jelly pigs. Some threats even ice mages can't freeze fast enough. Meanwhile, back at school, I'd been grinding like a man possessed. Master Chang's teaching philosophy was basically, you already know how to fight. Go level up, I'll watch from the shadows in case you almost die. 1 month of non-stop dungeon farming inside the Academy's artificial dungeons shot me from 21 to 28. 7 levels in 30 days while everyone else was still celebrating their first-tier breakthrough. The other provincial champions, Duanong, Wu Ying, came to visit, discovered my level, and collectively experienced what scientists call existential crisis through comparison. Then I announced I was challenging the genius ranking, the school-wide top 100 leaderboard where the lowest-ranked fighters are level 30-something. I'm a freshman. This has literally never been attempted before. Even my legendary sister didn't touch that list until sophomore year. Sun Muyang immediately appointed himself my unofficial publicist, telling every human being on campus that his big bro was coming for the rankings. Master Chong sipped his tea and shrugged. Go ahead. The man's confidence in me is either deeply touching or deeply reckless. Possibly both. The genius ranking arena was packed with students who came for one reason: to watch a freshman either make history or embarrass himself into transferring schools. Sun Muyang showed up waving a homemade flag that said, Bro Wen is invincible, while Duanong sat next to him trying to pretend they weren't together. Half the audience was placing mental bets on how fast I'd lose. A level 28 baby archer versus seasoned upperclassman? Most people gave me the life expectancy of a snowflake in a microwave. My opponent was Wang Meng, level 32 berserker, built like a refrigerator that learned kickboxing, carrying an axe bigger than my entire torso. He offered me a chance to surrender before things got embarrassing. Sweet guy. Wrong read. Fight started. He charged. I kited him around the flat arena like a dog chasing a laser pointer. Poisoned him to slow his stats. Summoned 2 clones for triple arrow coverage. Then grew wings and flew above him when he cracked the ground open with some earthquake move. Here's the thing about berserkers. They're terrifying on the ground. Against a flying archer with 10 times attack speed and sniper eyes, he was a very angry man with no way to reach his target. I turned him into a pincushion from the sky while he screamed, "Stop running," at a guy who was literally hovering. The crowd went from skeptical silence to roaring laughter to genuine shock as his health bar melted like butter on a hot pan. 1. Ranked 100th. Barely warmed up. The real targets are in the top 50, but rules say you start from the bottom like everyone else. Sun Muyang sprinted down screaming about how my arrows formed a dragon shape, which they absolutely did not. But I've learned that correcting his enthusiasm is like arguing with weather. Best part? Thousands of miles away in some demon-infested dungeon, my sister got a one-line notification on her emergency communicator. Freshman Fang Wen has entered the genius rankings. She'd spent months not even knowing if I passed my entrance exam. Surprise, sis. Your little brother didn't just get in. He kicked down the door. Apparently, she immediately decided to come home. Whether that's pride or worry, probably both. Big sisters never stop being big sisters, even when their little brothers can drop meteors from the sky. Beat the rank 100 gatekeeper and immediately acquired my first stalker. Some pale-faced, gold-haired psychopath named Wei Ji. Rank 2 on the genius list, level 40, storm fist fighter. Decided I needed to suffer because my sister rejected his love confession and blocked his entry into the exploration program. So naturally, the logical response was to murder her younger brother. This man's brain works like a broken GPS, wrong turn at every intersection. He called up his loyal minion, Wu Xiaowu, rank 53, a guy who can literally transform into an eagle. Told him to challenge me and, accidentally, kill me during the fight. If that fails, at least cripple me permanently. Wu Xiaowu agreed, like someone accepting a pizza delivery order. Sure, boss, easy job. These two are planning my assassination over fancy red wine like Bond villains with a community college budget. Meanwhile, completely unaware of any of this, I went out for hot pot with my crew. Sun Muyang, Duanong, and Wu Ying, all sitting around a boiling pot, celebrating my ranking debut. Everyone shared their levels. Sun Muyang 21, Duanong 24, Wu Ying 23. I'm 28. Sun Muyang sighed about the gap, and I told him not to rush. Then he said, with Bro Wen protecting me, I'm not worried, which is simultaneously flattering and concerning because this kid has completely outsourced his survival instincts to me. Next morning, Vice Principal Tuxedo Man summoned me with 2 pieces of news. Good news, my sister's coming home soon from her frontline mission. I haven't seen her in months and nearly jumped out of my chair. Bad news, that lunatic Wei Ji has a grudge against her and might come after me. Tuxedo Man said not to worry because Master Chong is watching my back, but still, heads up. So now I'm a province champion, genius list member, flying sword student, and assassination target. My to-do list just got a new category, intelligence gathering. Time to find out exactly what this crazy man is planning before his eagle boy comes knocking. Recruited Sun Muyang as my personal intelligence agency. Asked him about Wei Ji, and this golden-haired gossip machine delivered a full dossier like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. Turns out the psycho has multiple minions scattered across the genius rankings. Rank 53, 67, 81, like a chess player who prepositioned his pawns everywhere. The whole school walks on eggshells around this lunatic because his family basically owns half the capital. Sun Muyang rattled off names, ranks, abilities, and probably their breakfast preferences. This kid's wasted as a fire mage. He should be running a spy network. Master Chang's response to the threat was the most gangster thing a flower-watering grandpa has ever said. If someone tries to kill you, kill them first. Don't worry about consequences. In this academy, I am the rules. Then he casually slapped an invisible sword spirit onto my body, a panic button that teleports him to my location if I'm about to die. Having a level 95 bodyguard on speed dial really takes the edge off assassination plots. He also sent me to a special opportunity dungeon for double XP and some mystery item called Mermaid's Tears. Wouldn't explain what it does, just smiled mysteriously like a fortune cookie that grew legs. My goal: hit level 30 before challenging Wei Ji's Eagle Boy. At the dungeon entrance, one of Wei Ji's goons, rank 81, some dude named Jiao, whose name I assumed was female, showed up to trash talk me. Told him to get lost. He promised revenge inside the dungeon. I mentally added him to my to-do list right below, find mysterious mermaid item, and above, eat dinner. Then the dungeon opened into a gorgeous ocean world, and who pops out of nowhere? Tao Yaoyao. Upgraded, tanned from assassin training, and carrying a gift, purple speed boots to replace my legendary straw sandals. She'd heard about the Wei Ji situation and came to watch my back. We teamed up immediately, locked onto the biggest island radiating energy, and started swimming toward trouble. She watched me obliterate sea monsters like popping bubble wrap and yelled, "You got stronger again." Yeah, girl, that's kind of my whole thing. Tao Yaoyao and I landed on the mystery island, and she immediately kicked off her shoes to run barefoot on the beach like we were on vacation instead of a monster-infested dungeon. This girl's survival instincts oscillate between elite assassin and golden retriever at the park. I let her have her moment while my danger senses screamed that this island was way too quiet. Found a mermaid temple. Perfect. Walked toward it, and, surprise, a massive fireball came screaming at our faces. Some Japanese players had been camping inside, waiting to ambush anyone who showed up. Their fire mage launched a homing fireball that kept growing bigger by eating ambient mana. Cute trick. I had a cuter counter. Stopped running, raised my hand, whispered the iconic words, "I am the bone of my sword," and materialized Ro Ajax, the legendary 7-petaled shield. Fireball. Blocked. Then I launched my scout bird and sniper combo to pinpoint every single enemy hiding in that temple, and started picking them off like a shooting gallery. One katana guy, deleted before he drew. One on my OG summoner. Arrow punched through his spirit guardian and into his chest. The fire mage got chased around the island by my self-tracking, grunting arrow screaming foreign profanities until it finally caught him. Their assassin tried backstabbing me, but Tao Yaoyao materialized behind him first and introduced his spine to her new orange dagger. 8 enemies, maybe 2 minutes. International incident resolved. Grabbed the mermaid's tear from the temple altar, a legendary pearl made from an actual mermaid's tears. No idea what it does yet, but Master Chang said I need it. So into the pocket it goes. Then Wei Ji's lackey Jiao showed up expecting to find my corpse. Instead, he found me standing over a pile of defeated foreigners, surrounded by floating swords I was controlling with my mind. His face went through the 5 stages of grief in about 3 seconds. Tried to negotiate. I snapped my fingers and turned him into a pincushion. Then Tao Yaoyao walked up and stabbed him too, just so we'd be equally guilty. "We're in this together," she said, smiling like an angel who just committed a felony. "This girl is perfect and terrifying." Got the mermaid's tear, killed a bunch of foreign players, and watched Jiao get turned into a human kebab. Overall, a very productive afternoon. The mermaid temple turned out to be sitting on top of something sealed and terrifying, which pulsed with energy every now and then while the statue sang lullabies to keep it asleep. Classic, ancient horror imprisoned beneath a pretty building situation. I filed that under, "Not my problem today," and moved on. Used the remaining dungeon time to grind sea monsters for double XP. One-shot a level 30 lightning sea snake that leaped out of the ocean like it wanted to audition for a horror movie. Meanwhile, Tao Yaoyao showed off a new trick. She stabbed something once, leaves a flower-shaped mark, hits the same spot again, and the target literally disintegrates. 2 hits, guaranteed kill. My brain immediately went, isn't that just the bee sting assassination technique from a certain anime? And then I panicked imagining her eventually abandoning stealth to carry a giant missile launcher. She caught me making a weird face and accused me of thinking something rude. She was correct. Looted a hilarious weapon from the sea snake. A staff that's secretly a sword, because apparently even in this world, mages can't resist going melee. Perfect gift for Sun Muyang, my favorite fragile maniac who dreams of punching things despite being made of wet tissue paper. Tao Yaoyao said goodbye with a smile that hit harder than most of my arrows. She's not trying to be a sidekick. She wants to stand next to me as an equal. Respect that energy completely. Brought Master Chong fancy tea he'll love, and I can't taste the difference of. He gave me a shopping list for my future. 5 more mysterious items to collect before level 39. Philosopher's Stone, Satan's Fang, Unicorn's Sword, Eiffel's Ring, and Sauron's Book. Sounds like a scavenger hunt designed by someone who raided 6 different mythologies while drunk. No explanation what they're for. Just, you'll find out at 39. Cool. Love operating on blind faith with my flower-watering sword grandpa. Tomorrow I'm challenging Eagle Boy Wu Xiaowu, rank 53. Master Chang's parting words. Don't embarrass me, and if they cheat, don't hold back. Music to my ears. Hit level 30 the night before the fight, and the game gave me a birthday present. A passive skill called Valor that makes me immune to mental attacks and boosts my melee damage. The universe looked at my job title, Archer, looked at my playstyle, Psychopath who charges into melee with twin swords, and said, fine, we'll make it official. I am now a government-certified close combat bowman. My career counselor would be having a stroke. Checked my stats and nearly got emotional. All attributes pushing 300, 12 skills including 2 legendaries, an infinity-shaped magic circuit forming inside my body, and enough firepower to qualify as a small army. I decided to fight Eagle Boy Wu Xiaowu entirely in melee just to test drive the new skill. Could I snipe him from across the arena in 3 seconds? Absolutely. But where's the fun in that? The audience was split between people calling me arrogant and people reminding everyone that I'd sandbagged my first fight. The haters said jumping from rank 100 to 53 was suicidal. The believers pointed out that rank 100 was never my real level. It's just where the line starts. Both sides were arguing so passionately that the actual fight almost became a sideshow to the debate club happening in the bleachers. Wu Xiaowu transformed into a literal birdman. Wings, talons, the whole package, and blitzed me at stupid speed. My body dodged on autopilot thanks to True Mind's Eye, bending backward like I was playing limbo with death. Counterattacked with twin swords. Hit his wings. Felt like slashing a bank vault. Turns out his feathers have a steel reinforcement ability that makes them harder than metal. He smirked and said, that's my iron wings, kid, like he'd won something. Buddy, I've got 11 more weapons where those came from, and the fight just started. Eagle Boy came at me like a missile with feathers, and I dodged it like I was born in the Matrix. His steel wings shattered my twin swords. Cute trick, except I can respawn those things faster than he can blink. The look on his face when a brand new pair materialized in my hands was worth the entire fight. The audience figured out pretty quick that Wu Xiaowu wasn't just trying to win. He was trying to kill me. Sun Muyang started screaming, refund, from the stands like he'd bought tickets to a wrestling match and got a murder attempt instead. Then Master Chong appeared out of nowhere, froze every official in the building with a single glance, and declared this was now a death match. A death match. My 70-year-old flower-watering grandpa essentially told the entire academy, let them fight to the death, nobody interfere, then looked at Eagle Boy like he was already measuring a coffin. The man's retirement hobby is apparently terrifying people. Wu Xiaowu could have surrendered. Master Chong gave him the option, but his pride and loyalty to his psycho boss won out. Bad choice. We went full intensity, and I spent the next few minutes proving that a bowman with precognitive reflexes, infinite regenerating weapons, and a melee damage boost can absolutely destroy a level 36 Birdman in close combat. He couldn't land a single clean hit while I carved him up from angles he didn't know existed. Finished him with my signature married swords combo, the crane wing triple strike. launched both blades spinning from opposite sides. He blocked them. I summoned a fresh pair. He charged thinking he'd seen my whole trick, and then the first pair boomeranged back into him from behind. Before I even finished the full combo, he was done. Snapped my fingers, detonated the blades inside him. Fight over. Rank 53 mine. Gave Sun Muyang the lightning staff sword afterward. He swung it around shooting sparks everywhere yelling about his electric 5-chain whip, and honestly, that kid's joy is the purest thing in this entire war-torn world. While I was chilling after my victory, apparently my master decided to pay a social call to the Wei family. By social call, I mean he flew to their private estate on a sword and dropped it into their patriarch's fishing lake like a cruise missile. The old man, Wei Chonglin, a level who knows Turtle Shield support class who's been alive for 300 years because his job literally makes him age like a tortoise, had no idea why a legendary swordsman was trying to redecorate his pond with explosions. He'd been too busy fishing to notice his grandson was running an assassination operation at school. Grandpa of the Year. Master Chong told him to clean up his family's mess, or next time it wouldn't be a warning shot. Then flew away on his sword radiating enough killing intent to change the weather. The old turtle man immediately called for an investigation, found out his precious grandson had been trying to murder me, and summoned his son, Wei Ji's dad, for a chat. The chat was one slap across the face and a warning to control his kid. Dad then went to Wei Ji and delivered the same message using the same method. One slap, handle attached. 3 generations of men slapping each other down a chain of command. Beautiful family traditions. The problem? Wei Ji took that slap, smiled like a broken jack-in-the-box, and whispered to himself that he'd kill me anyway. Grandpa slaps dad. Dad slaps son. Son ignores everyone and doubles down on being a psychopath. This family tree needs professional help, the kind that comes with restraining orders and padded walls. I didn't know any of this at the time. I was probably eating dinner. But somewhere in a fancy mansion, a lunatic with a red cheek was giggling to himself about destroying me, completely unaware that my bodyguard is a man who considers family annihilation a reasonable Tuesday activity. Sun Muyang threw a surprise barbecue at MY house to celebrate my ranking. Didn't ask permission, just showed up with meat and a grill like he pays rent here. Wu Ying came, we ate skewers under the stars, and it was actually really nice. Until Sun Muyang drank 1 cup of alcohol and completely lost his mind. 1 cup. This kid went from functional human to shirtless lightning mage performing combat dances in my yard, then tried to take his pants off for an elephant dance. I knocked him unconscious with my fist because friendship has limits. Wu Ying casually mentioned there's now a fan club for me at the academy. Founded after my fight with Eagle Boy. Full of girls. Sun Muyang, the self-proclaimed intelligence king, didn't even know about it. His pride crumbled in real time. He begged Wu Ying to add him to the group chat. She told him to get lost. Carried the unconscious Sun Muyang home. Couldn't get past his ridiculous face scan plus wink plus headshake security system, and dumped him on his own couch. Next morning Sun Muyang woke up, panicked about his dignity, then discovered Wu Ying had recorded his entire drunk performance. The man aged 5 years and 3 seconds. Meanwhile, Vice Principal Tuxedo Man visited Master Chong with bribe food, soup dumplings, and dropped 3 pieces of news. First, I'm excused from midterms because they're sending me to an inter-academy student exchange at Kunlun Academy instead. Second, the greatest living archer teaches there, and Tuxedo Man already wrote her a letter of introduction for me. Third, as compensation for skipping the exam, I get a body-strengthening potion, a sunstone that blocks dark corruption and can power up my skills, plus a bottle of Tuxedo Man's personal creation, water of life, that can literally reattach severed limbs. Master Chong went from furious, "You're excluding MY student," to purring, "Acceptable," in about 4 seconds flat. Then Tuxedo Man asked if I could come cook dinner for them both. My cooking reputation has apparently reached vice presidential levels. I'm a chef, a sniper, a swordsman, and now apparently the Academy's most wanted personal caterer. A golden arrow with a letter attached landed at my villa like the world's most dramatic text message. From Guqing, rank 67, the last surviving member of Wei Ji's little gang. He wanted to meet. Not to fight, just to talk. My danger senses said it was safe, so I went. Turns out Gu Qing was nothing like the other two. Quiet guy, squinty eyes, hands in his pockets, zero hostility. He asked what I thought of Wu Xiaowu. I told him the truth. Decent fighter, clearly carrying baggage that wasn't his own. Gu Qing smiled like I'd given him exactly what he needed to hear, said, "See you around," and walked away. I could tell from his eyes what he was planning. He wasn't coming for me. He was going for the source. That night, Gu Qing walked into Wei Ji's courtyard with a one-shot kill arrow. A golden judgment arrow cursed to guarantee death even on a graze. Shot Wei Ji through the forehead. Clean. Done. Justice served. Except it wasn't Wei Ji. It was a puppet. A decoy. The real Wei Ji materialized behind Gu Qing like a horror movie and punched straight through his chest, ripped out his still-beating heart, squeezed it like a stress ball, and tossed it aside. This psychopath had never trusted anyone, not even his own allies, and kept a body double sitting in his chair at all times. Gu Qing died, never knowing the real monster was behind him. Then Wei Ji called out some shadow butler named Old Mo who opened the ground, swallowed the body, and closed it back up like nothing happened. Cleaned the scene in 3 seconds. No evidence. No witnesses. Just a missing student nobody would connect to him. I didn't know any of this yet. But somewhere in the dark, a lunatic was deciding to come after me personally. And Gu Qing, the only decent person in that whole rotten circle, was gone, buried under the earth by a man who crushes hearts for entertainment. Some people in this world don't deserve the air they breathe. Wei Ji is at the top of that list. Master Chang dumped 3 gifts on his stone table like Santa Claus having a clearance sale. A body-strengthening potion, a sunstone, and a bottle of water of life. All meant to be my midterm exam prizes, except I got banned from taking the exam because I'm too strong. Imagine getting disqualified from a test for being too smart. My entire academic career is just adults going, "Please stop. You're making everyone cry." Chugged the body potion immediately. 5 points to every stat at once. Instant power-up, 0 effort. I finally understood why rich kids love performance-enhancing potions. It's like downloading muscles. Can't abuse it, though, or your stats turn into a house of cards. One and done. Then I sat down with the sunstone and meditated until golden fire literally appeared on my fingertips. Unlocked solar power. Every attack now burns enemies, and dark/undead creatures take bonus damage. My arrows went from painful to painful and on fire. The abyss monsters are going to hate meeting me. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Uncle G from the Education Bureau tracked down who leaked the exam dungeon info to the demons. Some dying vice governor sold the intel to a shady cult in exchange for extended life. He killed himself when caught. 2 evil organizations emerged as suspects: the 10,000 Races Society and the Abyss Church. Human traders working for monsters. Tuxedo Man sipped his tea, called them inelegant, and quietly prepared to exterminate them. That man could declare war while ordering dessert. Big news. 7 Academy Student Exchange Tournament at Kunlun Academy, levels 30 to 40. I'm going. Master Chang already signed me up. Even better, the greatest archer alive teaches at Kunlun, and she happens to be Tuxedo Man's ex-girlfriend. He wrote her a recommendation letter for me. My training itinerary now includes learning from a legendary archer who dated my vice principal. The gossip potential alone is worth the trip. Lin Tian's at Kunlun too. Haven't seen that lovable damage sponge since our exam dungeon bromance. Time to find out if he's gotten any stronger or if he's still mostly useful as monster bait. Showed up at the Academy airport for the Kunlun exchange trip and immediately scanned the crowd for Wei Ji. Not there. Either he's too cool for school events or he's plotting something in the shadows like the budget supervillain he is. My money's on option 2. That guy's brain runs on pure crazy fuel. The chaperone was Thunder Teacher Raibao, who tried to recruit me as his student months ago and still hasn't given up. Come learn spear techniques when you get back. Sure thing, sir. At this rate, I'll need a second brain just to store all the fighting styles people keep throwing at me. Met a chubby girl named Sun Xiao Xiao, plant controller, cheerful as sunshine, and an absolute motor mouth. She knew my sister from their freshman dungeon crawling days. First person I've met at this school who actually called my sister a friend. Sis's social circle is apparently 3 people, 1 psychopath stalker, 1 mind control maniac, and 1 plant lady. Quality over quantity, I guess. Also, Sun Xiaoxiao's last name is Sun. like Sun Muyang. Starting to think the Sun family produces exactly two types of people, chatterboxes and intelligence operatives. Landed at Kunlun Academy, which is literally built into a mountain range like some kind of fantasy movie set. And standing right there with the Earth Academy delegation was Zhang Wei. My boy, my day one brother. Haven't seen him in months, and there he was, grinning like a golden retriever who found his owner at the park. He'd leveled up, joined a knight's guild, and was brought along by the guild president, a tall, handsome warrior girl named Gaoya. I asked him why SHE specifically chose to bring him along. He turned red. Tomato red. I connected the dots at light speed. Zhang Wei, did you actually land yourself a sugar mommy situation? He stammered something about. She just wants to develop my talent, and I stretched the word, develop, until it had 17 syllables. My man went from butcher's son to being personally mentored by a level 39 undead night queen. From pork chops to princess treatment. I have never been prouder or more amused in my entire life. Tried to grab dinner with Zhang Wei, but his guild president needed him. Sure, buddy. Found Lin Tian instead. The guy nearly choked when I told him I wasn't here as a tourist, but as an actual competitor. His face cycled through denial, acceptance, and spiritual defeat in about 2 seconds. At this point, every time I meet Lin Tian, I accidentally destroy his worldview. It's becoming a tradition. Later I spotted Zhang Wei getting absolutely demolished in training by Gaoya, who was screaming motivational threats at him like a drill sergeant crossed with a disappointed mother. You want to help your friend Fang Wen? Then suffer. My boy was getting beaten into greatness and loving every miserable second of it. I watched from a lamppost like a proud ninja dad, whispered, "See you at the top, brother," and vanished before anyone noticed. Also discovered that the legendary archer I'm supposed to visit, GNI, level 91 dragon archer, was sitting on a mountaintop reading Tuxedo Man's letter and complaining that he didn't come deliver it personally. There's definitely unfinished romantic business there, and I am absolutely going to harvest every crumb of gossip available. Exchange tournament kicked off the next morning. 70 elite students, 7 academies, 3 events, solo fights, team battles, and dungeon exploration. My first opponent? Star Moon from Star River Academy, a level 35 astral mage who can predict your moves and drop celestial attacks. Sun Xiaoxiao warned me she's tricky. I'm a guy with precognitive combat instincts and 10-kilometer sniper vision. We'll see whose future sight is better. Opening match was Gaoya versus some holy fist monk named Xiang Zheng. He purified her skeleton army with sacred light, punched through her defenses, looked real cool for about 5 seconds. Then she grabbed his fist barehanded because she'd already built resistance to his holy element. Crushed his entire strategy with one grip and a smile. Zhang Wei's mentor doesn't play around. Now I'm even more impressed that my best friend somehow charmed this woman into personally training him. That boy's charisma stat must be secretly maxed. Gaoya's victory set the tone. She grabbed a holy fist monk's punch barehanded and told him his sacred light was discount brand compared to a real holy knight. Then she glanced at Zhang Wei in the stands like she was showing off for him. I'm now 99% sure she's raising my best friend like a boyfriend-shaped Pokemon. Sun Xiaoxiao fought next and turned the arena into a literal plants versus zombies level. Pea shooters, vine traps, root shields. Her opponent was some wandering swordsman cosplayer who tried to do a jumping stab as his ultimate move, which is the fighting game equivalent of pressing one button and praying. She caught him midair with vines and dangled a giant tree spear over his head until he surrendered. I was the only person in the stadium thinking, this looks exactly like a mobile game, because apparently being a reincarnator means suffering alone with your references. My turn came up. Everyone on my team gave me the "it's okay if you lose" speech, which was sweet but unnecessary. I asked Teacher Raibao if I could go all out. He thought about the collateral damage, realized we're at Kunlun's campus and not ours, and said yes with a smile that was way too happy about potential property destruction. Zhang Wei finally noticed I wasn't sitting in the spectator section and nearly fell out of his chair. Wait, you're competing? His girlfriend Mentor Gaoya rolled her eyes like, how did you not notice, you beautiful idiot? My opponent Star Moon walked up. Cute girl, no staff, just a glowing hexagram tattoo on her hand that apparently lets her talk to stars. She called me little brother, summoned meteors from the sky, locked me down with star chains rising from the ground, and blocked my arrow rain with a constellation shield. All in the first 10 seconds. Okay, she's not messing around. Good. Neither am I. Star Moon's light chains chased me through the air like glowing tentacles with GPS. She cheerfully informed me they auto-track targets. I cheerfully introduced her to hunting, my boomerang sword arrow that also auto-tracks. She blocked it, it fell, it got back up and came again. She panicked, wrapped it in chains to hold it still, and I detonated it in her face. The explosion sent her tumbling across the arena, looking like she'd lost an argument with a fireworks factory. Then she pulled her ultimate, condensed an actual star, and threw it at me like a cosmic bowling ball. A whole star. This cute girl in jean shorts was literally yeeting celestial bodies at my head. So I figured it was time to stop playing nice. Infinity Circuit activated. Magic flowing through my body like a river that never ends. I chanted the words, projected Calidbulb 2, the spiral sword that becomes a nuclear arrow, and let it fly. It drilled straight through her star like a bullet through paper, kept going, and detonated behind it in a mushroom cloud that vaporized the entire arena. The vice principal of Kunlun had to emergency activate the audience shields mid-fight because my arrow almost took out the spectators. Some shadow teleporting teacher had to yank Star Moon off the stage before she got caught in the blast radius. I nuked someone else's school during a friendly tournament. Teacher Raibao looked thrilled. The Kunlun vice principal looked like he wanted to send us the repair bill. The Kunlun recruiter who'd failed to sign me months ago stood there crackling with literal lightning from sheer frustration. Star Moon came up afterward, pale but grinning, asked for my contact info for future sparring. Sun Xiaoxiao immediately started making kissy faces. Zhang Wei was screaming from the stands. Gaoya noted my arrow had tier 3 power. That's a 60+ level threshold. I'm 30. They're calling me Nuclear Arrow Immortal now. I just wanted to win a match. Instead, I accidentally became a war crime with a student ID. Won the individual tournament. Won the team tournament. God mode engaged. Shengjing Academy swept everything because apparently being the #1 school isn't just marketing, it's a lifestyle. The other 6 academies looked at us like students watching the teacher take their own exam. Unfair? Maybe. Entertaining? Absolutely. But the real prize was Event 3, climbing a magic staircase. Kunlun Academy's secret treasure, the Cloud Ascension Stairs, 9,999 steps up a mountain, each one heavier than the last. It auto-adjusts to your level, so nobody gets an unfair advantage. Pure willpower test. The ultimate, how stubborn are you, measurement device. I looked at those stairs, and my competitive brain cells started doing jumping jacks. Sun Xiaoxiao explained that while our school has the trial tower for grinding, Kunlun's mountain staircase permanently boosts your base stats without leveling you up. Free attribute points just for walking uphill and suffering. I nearly tripped over my own feet rushing to the starting line. This is the best deal I've heard since Infinite Weapon Brain, no subscription fee, started climbing. First step felt like someone parked a truck on my shoulders. Second step, 2 trucks. By step 500, half the contestants were wheezing like broken accordions. By 3,000, people were quitting left and right, activating their emergency teleport stones like they'd seen enough. Sun Xiaoxiao lasted until 5,000 before her legs declared independence and seceded from her body. She wished me luck and vanished in a flash of light. Eventually, it was down to 3 idiots who refused to stop. Me, Gaoya the Undead Night Queen, and Xiang Zheng the Holy Fist Monk who'd already lost once today and apparently decided losing twice wasn't an option. Gaoya asked if I was okay. I said, fine, while sweat dripped down my face like a broken faucet. My stats are nearly 300 across the board thanks to my 5x advancement multiplier, but even I was starting to feel like gravity had developed a personal grudge. Somewhere, on a distant mountaintop, the legendary archer GNI had watched my entire nuclear arrow performance with her own enhanced eyesight and decided she actually wants to teach me now. Not as a favor to her ex-boyfriend, because I earned it. She's planning to give me her ultimate technique. I don't know this yet. I'm too busy climbing stairs and pretending my legs aren't screaming. One step at a time. Almost 10,000 to go. My monk mode mantra. My heart is iron, and iron doesn't quit. Everyone quit the stairs except me, Gaoya, and the Holy Fist Monk. The monk dropped first. Gaoya, Zhang Wei's terrifying Night Queen, held on until her body literally refused to move. Before she teleported out, she apparently had a whole internal monologue about how if she marries Zhang Wei she'd have to call me big bro. Lady, I'm just climbing stairs. Please keep your wedding plans out of my workout. She stumbled at the bottom, and Zhang Wei caught her like a romance novel cover. These two are speedrunning a love story, and neither of them will admit it. So there I was, alone on 10,000 stairs. Every step felt like the mountain was personally offended by my existence. My body screamed. My legs filed a formal complaint. My brain said, keep going, idiot. So I kept going, step by step, like a monk on a really bad pilgrimage. Meanwhile, my master was floating overhead on a sword, video calling Tuxedo Man to brag about me in real time. Look at my student. Isn't he amazing? Aren't you jealous? The man turned my suffering into a livestream flex. Proud teacher energy at its most shameless. I reached the top, 9,999 steps. First person in history to summit the cloud stairs. Reward, plus 20 to all stats. That's 100 free attribute points. The equivalent of leveling to 100 without actually leveling. My numbers jumped past 300 across the board. I am now statistically disgusting. Then a beautiful woman in red appeared out of nowhere. GNI, the legendary archer, level 91, Tuxedo Man's ex-girlfriend. The whole reason I came to Kunlun. She looked at me like I'd passed an audition I didn't know I was taking and said 4 perfect words. Follow me. I'll teach you. Zhang Wei screamed from the bottom of the mountain. The Kunlun vice principal sighed about losing me for the 8th time. And I walked off with the greatest archer alive to learn things that would make my basic archer awakening even more hilariously ironic. The legendary archer GNI lived alone on a mountaintop like a hermit queen. No students, no husband, no cooking skills. She invited me in for tea and stories, accidentally dropping embarrassing secrets about Tuxedo Man and Master Chong from their younger days. I stored those blackmail nuggets deep in my brain vault while silently praying she wouldn't kill me for knowing too much. Then she tried to cook dinner and nearly committed a war crime against her own kitchen. I took over, whipped up 4 dishes and a soup, and watched this 91-level legendary warrior have a religious experience over my stir-fry. She literally said, "This is what Chong and Tang eat every day," with the jealousy of a woman who's been eating cafeteria food for decades. My cooking has now impressed 3 of the most powerful people on the planet. Forget archery. My real cheat code is seasoning. But here's where it got beautiful. She asked me to teach her one simple dish that could make an elegant man lose his composure. She didn't say Tuxedo Man's name, but she might as well have tattooed it on her forehead. I taught her the nuclear option, extra spicy mapo tofu, a dish so violently hot that no amount of sophistication can survive it. She needed a test subject, refused to sacrifice me, so she opened a teleport portal straight to Vice Principal Bai Qingfeng's office and fed it to him without warning. The man was hospitalized by tofu. She came back humming happily. She's saving the real batch for Tuxedo Man. I am simultaneously proud and terrified of what I've unleashed. This woman is weaponizing my recipes for romantic warfare, and I am a willing accomplice. After the cooking chaos settled, she got serious. Took me outside, stood tall, and announced she'd teach me her ultimate technique. Arrow transforms into dragon. The greatest archer alive was about to hand me her finishing move. From cooking class to dragon arrows in one afternoon. Only my life works like this. G and I shot an arrow that turned into 2 intertwining red dragons and punched a hole through an entire mountain. Then she looked at me and said, "Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool? Lady, you just performed geological surgery with a bow. That's not cool. That's a natural disaster with style points." Her ultimate technique has 2 modes. Mode 1 is, twin dragons explode through everything in a straight line. Mode 2 is even more terrifying. Lock onto a target, and the arrow becomes pure energy that phases through walls, mountains, buildings, whatever stands between you and your victim. Combine that with my scout bird for marking targets and my 10-kilometer sniper eyes, I can now assassinate people through solid rock from another zip code. The Geneva Convention doesn't exist in this world, but if it did, I'd be violating it. She explained the theory. I learned it on the spot. Shot a blue dragon out of my bow on the first try. Genie's face went through surprise, pride, and then this sad, tender expression like she was looking at a kid carrying the weight of the world. She called me a genius. I made a cute face and pretended that wasn't the 15th time this month someone said that. She spent the next few days dumping every trick she'd learned across decades of combat into my brain. Not just the flashy stuff, but the boring fundamentals that keep you alive. Zero fear of teaching too much. This woman's confidence is built different. She basically said, if I misjudged you, then I deserve whatever happens. Hardcore grandma energy. Said goodbye to Lin Tian, who discovered that freshmen at Kunlun now call me God Fang. He laughed it off, but I could see the fire reigniting behind his eyes. Good. Chase me, buddy. On my way out, the vice principal I'd helped poison with mapo tofu intercepted me and handed over the Sauron's book, one of the 6 mystery items Master Chong told me to collect. Apparently, it was my reward for conquering the stairs, and the old man had coordinated the whole thing behind the scenes. 2 out of 6 items collected. 4 more scattered across who knows where. My inventory is slowly filling up with artifacts that sound like they belong in 6 different fantasy novels, and I still have no idea what they're actually for. Level 39 can't come fast enough. Left Kunlun Academy with a new dragon arrow technique, a spicy tofu recipe that doubles as a weapon of mass destruction, and a mysterious book called Sauron's Book. 2 out of 6 mystery items collected, still zero clue what they're for. Vice Principal Bai Qingfeng smiled warmly as he handed it over, but I later found out Master Chong had blackmailed him into it. Apparently, the old man photographed Bai passed out from mapo tofu with a sword hovering over his face, then said, nice reputation you got there. Shame if something happened to it. My master is a 70-year-old extortionist who rides a flying sword. I've never been prouder. What I didn't know, because the universe keeps scheduling my assassination attempts during my commute, was that 2 evil organizations were having a meeting about me at that exact moment. The Abyss Church guys from the exam dungeon disaster teamed up with the 10,000 Races Society, a rival crime syndicate that had been accidentally carpet-bombed by Uncle G's cleanup operation. Their brilliant plan: send a level 55 Dark Butcher named Zheng Hai, a guy whose tragic backstory is lost everything, chose evil, got really good at killing with a blood-drinking cleaver, to ambush me on my way home from Kunlun. Their logic: he's only level 30. How hard can it be? The hooded Abyss Church guy had to remind Meat Cleaver Man that geniuses don't travel alone. Smart observation. Except Master Chong isn't just company. He's a one-man extinction event hiding in the clouds above me at all times. Oh, and their secret meeting got overheard by a spy who bolted immediately. So their plan was already leaking before it started. These criminal masterminds can't even keep a conversation private. I'm being hunted by the most incompetent evil alliance in history, and I don't even know it yet because I'm walking home enjoying the mountain air like a guy without a care in the world. Decided to walk home from Kunlun instead of taking the airship because apparently I hate convenience. My excuse was field training to practice new skills, but honestly, I just wanted to blow stuff up in the wilderness without anyone filing a damage report. Killed a giant rabbit with an exploding sword throw. The rabbit didn't drop anything because wild monsters are cheap like that. Half the XP of dungeons and 0 loot. Nature is a scam. Camped in a cave with multiple exits because I'm not an idiot. Good thing too, because a hit squad showed up at my doorstep while I was meditating. 7 people, led by a level 55 Dark Butcher named Zheng Hai carrying an evil blood-drinking cleaver. A literal murder pig sticker upgraded for human use. Behind him, a whole squad of level 40-plus killers, sent by the Abyss Church through the 10,000 Races Society, all to kill 1 level 30 college student. I'm flattered and terrified in equal measure. Slipped out through a side tunnel and bumped into a scarred-up guy who immediately threw a military salute at me. His name was Gu Yu, a level 50 knife thief who'd been working undercover inside the evil organization as a government spy. He'd blown his cover to warn me and was bleeding from a fight he'd barely survived. Showed me his ID badge, which checked out. We literally learned how to verify these in high school. So thanks, education system, for one actually useful class. He told me these guys were specifically hired to assassinate me. I looked at him. He looked at me. I felt Master Chang's emergency sword spirit buzzing on my body like a panic button I could press anytime. And then my brain did the thing it always does. Want to team up and kill all 7 of them? Guyu stared at me like I'd suggested we rob a bank using spoons. Reminded me the leader is 25 levels above me, and his weakest goon is 12 levels higher than me. I grinned and said, there's 2 of us though. 2 versus 7, advantage. Us. His face said, I'm standing next to a lunatic. His eyes said, but what if the lunatic is right? Welcome to my world, Spy Man. Buckle up. My brilliant plan was simple. Spy Guy stabs people from behind. I rain arrows from the trees. Nobody expects the level 30 kid to be the predator instead of the prey. Master Chong was floating somewhere above us on a flying sword, eating invisible popcorn and narrating my fight like a proud sports dad. That's my boy. Kill them all, except he said it quietly to himself because he's my secret bodyguard, not my cheerleader. Guyu shanked the first guy before anyone noticed he'd switched teams. Then I opened up with arrow rain mixed with poison arrows and exploding noble phantasms from 3 different angles, relocating after every shot like the world's most annoying mosquito with a bow. The scout bird circling overhead kept tagging everyone's position so they couldn't hide. Guyu crept around picking off stragglers while I kept the boss pinned down. Hit Xinghai with arrow transforms into dragon, the phase through walls version, and it drilled straight into him through solid rock. He screamed, lost a chunk of health, then went full suicide mode. Sacrificed his own life force to power up a blood attack strong enough to flatten a small town. His murder cleaver started glowing like a demonic lighthouse. Any sane person would run. I loaded up Calibulb 2 and wrapped it in twin dragon energy simultaneously. A combo I'd never tried before. The spiral nuclear arrow, now riding 2 energy dragons, phased through space and collided with his blood explosion head-on. The entire mountain shook. Guyu got launched into a wall by the shockwave alone. When the dust settled, Zhenghai was gone. Nothing left but his shattered pig sticker. I stood there wheezing like I'd sprinted a marathon while simultaneously casting every spell I know. Guyu climbed out of rubble, looked at me, and said, "You're really only level 30? I told him yes. He gave me a thumbs up and a 1,000-yard stare, the face of a man reconsidering every life choice that led him to being less impressive than a college freshman. Somewhere in the shadows, the hooded Abyss Church guy watched the whole thing, called his dead mercenaries trash, and promised we'd meet again. Cool. Add him to the line. There's already a queue of people who want me dead, and so far the survival rate for that career path is 0%. While I was walking home with Guyu, completely unaware, Master Chong was handling business behind me like the world's most overqualified janitor. That hooded Abyss Church creep, turns out his name is Xiao Luming, and he's actually a pretty-faced young guy hiding under all that edgelord cosplay, was standing over the battlefield monologuing about how excited he was to meet me again. Out loud. In the open. Near a level 95 sword immortal who was literally floating above him. This man's survival instincts are in the negative numbers. Master Chong surrounded him with flying swords from every direction like a human blender on standby, looked down at him, and basically said, "You were saying?" Xiao Luming called him an old geezer to his face, which honestly takes a special kind of stupid courage. Master Chong didn't bother interrogating him, just snapped his fingers and turned him into a pincushion. Same treatment as Jiao Yi. My master has exactly one finishing move for annoying people, and it's become a colander. Plot twist. The body was a puppet. This psycho's actual class is alchemist, and he'd been remote controlling a clone body this entire time. His real self woke up in a basement full of spare bodies like the creepiest Build-A-Bear workshop ever conceived. He was mid-celebration. Haha, I escaped the legendary swordsman, when Master Chang's soul-chasing sword activated inside his brain. A spiritual homing missile that follows your soul across bodies. Xiao Luming jumped to another clone. Sword followed. Jumped again. Sword followed again. In a moment of absolute psychopath energy, he sliced his own soul in half to shake the tracking. Lost 10 levels instantly, nearly destroyed his own mind, but survived. Then he sat there panting, bleeding from his spirit, and whispered, "How exciting," like a man who genuinely cannot tell the difference between near-death experiences and entertainment. My master sensed the soul kill felt light, like buying a steak and getting half the weight, and figured the guy escaped with damage. Didn't chase further. His attitude was basically, cockroach survived, whatever, I'll squash him if he comes back. The confidence of a man who considers soul hunting a minor inconvenience. I knew absolutely none of this. I was probably eating trail mix and thinking about what to cook for dinner. After nearly getting assassinated, I did what any reasonable person would do. I got angry and took it out on every living creature between me and the next city. Every monster, every beast, every suspicious-looking rock. If it moved, it caught these hands. Or arrows. Or exploding swords. I was basically a walking natural disaster with a grudge and unlimited ammunition. But something cool happened during the carnage. Every time I burned through my mana completely, my infinity-shaped magic circuit would glow, refill me with warmth, and come back slightly more solid than before. Like a muscle getting stronger from exercise. Except the muscle is a metaphysical energy highway shaped like the number 8. Master Chong said forming your circuit requires asking your heart what you truly want. Some people spend their whole lives never figuring that out. Me? I figured mine out by accident. Turns out if you spend enough time killing monsters that threaten innocent people, your soul just commits to the bit. My path is protecting people. Not because I'm some selfless saint. I've got plenty of selfish reasons mixed in there. But a guy who pretends to be good his entire life is good. Actions over intentions. That's my philosophy, and apparently my magic circuit agrees. Guyu tagged along as my unofficial bodyguard / sous chef. The man spent 3 years undercover in a terrorist organization, has knife scars all over his face, and looks like he could murder you with a glance. But he'd get all sparkly-eyed whenever I pulled out the cooking equipment. We grilled monster meat under the stars, and he called my barbecue skills criminal. Coming from an actual spy, that's either a compliment or a threat. He told me about his years pretending to be evil while secretly feeding intel to the military. No glory, no recognition, just daily fear and iron willpower. That's a real hero. Not the flashy kind, just the stubborn kind that refuses to stop doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. Made my problems feel pretty small by comparison. I told him to stay safe. He told me to get stronger until nobody dares touch me. Then he vanished into the trees like he'd never existed, off to infiltrate some other nightmare organization. Walked the rest of the way to Jiang City alone, stronger than when I left Kunlun, with a magic circuit that's finally starting to feel like mine. After weeks in the wilderness, eating monster barbecue and punching everything that breathed wrong, I finally saw a city and almost cried from happiness. Civilization. Indoor plumbing. Food that isn't char-grilled mutant rabbit. I checked into a hotel in Jiang City and video called Master Chong, who answered while casually flying through the sky on a sword like it was a conference call from his car. His background was literally clouds. I noticed he wasn't at the academy and realized, this old man has been silently following me this entire time. Neither of us said it out loud. We just understood. My master is the world's most deadly helicopter parent, and I love him for it. Told him I was done running from the 10,000 Races Society. They tried to kill me. I killed their regional boss, and now I wanted to burn their entire operation to the ground before going home. Master Chong didn't even blink, just started sharing intel like he'd been waiting for me to ask. We're the same breed of petty. Someone swings at us, we don't dodge. We swing back harder and then go find their house. Headed to the provincial capital to visit Uncle G at his home with fruit and vitamins, because I'm a polite young man who also happens to want classified intelligence on criminal hideouts. Uncle G already knew everything. My Kunlun trip, my stair record, the assassination attempt. Man's information network is scarier than any spy agency. He pulled out a folder of 10,000 Races Society-based locations like a waiter presenting the specials. Their boss Zheng Hai being dead had thrown their whole organization into chaos. Leaderless rats scrambling in the dark. Perfect timing to stomp the nest. Uncle G asked if I really one-shot a level 55 Dark Butcher. I said, he forgot to dodge. The old man laughed so hard his reading glasses almost fell off. We started planning the raid together over tea, 2 generations of revenge enthusiasts bonding over shared hatred of monster-worshipping terrorists. Got assigned to a special ops squad called the Chilin Team, and yes, I immediately started humming the theme song, because my brain is broken from a previous life of too much pop culture. The team hunts evil organizations for a living, and I joined as their temporary damage dealer because their regular mage got hospitalized by a boss monster's reflectability. Karma really said, return to sender, On that poor guy. The squad was solid. Captain Lin Yong, level 50 fire swordsman. Turns out he's Lin Tian's cousin, and apparently Lin Tian has been running his mouth about me being the most broken genius he's ever met. Thanks, buddy. Real subtle. The healer Wang Yusin had pigtails and smiled like a kindergarten teacher who could resurrect the dead. The tank Hantian Xia was a 2-meter wall of meat with a goofy grin and 2 shields, because 1 shield is for quitters. Then there's Chun Tianjiao, a bard who pretends to be ice cold because kids bullied her name growing up. She's actually a sweetheart underneath 3 layers of emotional cement. Their first reaction to hearing about me wasn't, "Oh great, a low-level kid." It was genuine worry that someone had sent a young genius into a meat grinder as punishment. These people have hearts. I almost felt bad about being stronger than they expected. Then the tank looked me dead in the eyes and said, "So you're the one they call the incubus online." Apparently my fan club at school has been calling me a seduction demon on social media. I'm a bowman. I shoot arrows. How did my reputation become dangerously attractive? I blame the golden rule passive. That skill upgraded my face, and now I can't take it back. Mission briefing. 50+ cultists in a hideout. Boss is a level 55 shadow spearman. Orders are total elimination. The captain told me to stay close for safety. Sweet sentiment. Slightly unnecessary given I recently exploded a guy 25 levels above me into non-existence. But I appreciated the dad energy. This was going to be fun, my first proper team mission since the Jelly Pig days with Zhang Wei. Except this time, everyone's professional and nobody's screaming about not wanting to inherit a butcher shop.